We're underway at Turf Moor. Conor McNamara.
Thanks very much, Mark. Yes, Burnley in their claret and blue, playing from right to left as we look down. Everton in their blue shirts, white shorts and white socks, playing from left to right. Sean Dyche has made a very familiar walk, one that he's made hundreds and hundreds of times in the past. He's come out of the tunnel away to our right hand side. We are perched in the very back row of the North Stand, and he's walked across the pitch and he immediately headed for the home dugout. I don't think it was muscle memory, Paul Robinson. I think he just wanted to shake the hands of the opposition manager, but that will be a walk that almost his body will make autopilot into the home dugout here at Turf Moor for Sean Dyche, manager here for almost a decade.
I think that's what he'll tell you in his after-match interview, that's what he's doing. He's looking for Vincent Kompany, but maybe he did go to the wrong dugout. But he's certainly got a fantastic reception, and rightly so. I think there's many people here who thought that he was probably relieved of his duties at the wrong time, and he was the right man to potentially keep them in the league at that time. But he's certainly very, very well thought of and welcome back whenever he comes.
Both these teams are missing players due to suspension this evening. Burnley are without their regular left back Charlie Taylor. Everton are without Idrissa Gueye and Jared Branthwaite. And there are 4 changes made from Everton's last game, which was a 3-0 win against Chelsea last Sunday. 4 is the most changes that Sean Dyche has made this season in between any 2 Premier League games. This isn't what he would have planned to do, but this is what he has done. He's changed to a back 3. James Tarkowski, Michael Keane and Ben Godfrey coming in. Godfrey's first Premier League start to the season. Nathan Patterson plays at right back. Ashley Young and Mikalenko are injured, and Dwight McNeil is dropping back to cover a left wing back position. Onana with Garner in the middle. Onana in for Gay, who's suspended, and then you've got Harrison, Doucouré and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's got 3 goals against Burnley in the past. For the home side, Vincent Kompany's made 2 changes. Brun Larsen in for Gudmundsson, and with Taylor suspended at left back, Hanne Delcroix, the Belgian, has come in to play at left back. Here come Burnley on the attack down the left hand side. It was Wilson Odegaard who scored against Brighton last week, pulling back across, but too many Everton players in around the penalty area, and they are able to clear away. 0-0 on 5 Live.
Yeah, you mentioned his team shape change there, Sean Dyche, going to a back 5. We've not seen Everton do that recently. I mean, they've had 3 fantastic wins and kept 3 clean sheets. Yes, he's missing players, but almost immediately they do revert to that back 5 with Patterson and McNeil playing wing backs. And Burnley, I know we're very, very early on, they've dominated possession.
Yeah, Burnley, who are always a flat back 4. They're always 4-4-2. I think it must be written into the town charter or something, but Sean Dyche, remember, he used to never make changes. It was always 4-4-2, and Vincent Kompany has continued it this season. James Trafford, the goalkeeper, Vitinho, O'Shea, Bayer and Delcroix, the back 4. Brun Larsen, Berger, Brownhill and Odegaard in midfield, and then Jay Rodriguez and Zeki Amdouni up front. Free kick to Burnley. Midway inside the Everton half. Everton holding a high line. Not quite Tottenham high, but very much high defensive line, well outside their penalty area, creating a large corridor of uncertainty between them and goalkeeper Jordan Pickford. And the task here for Brownhill is to try and play it, or indeed Larsen if he takes it into that corridor of uncertainty. Now the players gallop into that space, and a header is won by Amadou Onana, heads it well out of the penalty area and out for a throw into Burnley on the left hand side. Paul,
just trying to work out his thinking, Sean Dyche, going to a back 3. Michael Keane's coming for the ever present Branthwaite of late, and he's been absolutely outstanding as Branthwaite, whether with Keane and Godfrey both having to come into the side at the same time. He wants to give them a little bit of protection alongside Tarkowski playing in the middle with Keane and Godfrey either side of him, with Patterson and McNeil wing backs. But they are unusually deep and unusually sacrificial of possession. They've hardly touched the ball since the game kicked off.
Everton, who start today just above the relegation zone in 17th place, but they do have a 4-point buffer. There's a ball over the top, and sprinting back just to usher it to the keeper Pickford is Ben Godfrey. Godfrey, who did play as a substitute in the Premier League 1 game in September. That was against Manchester United. It was at Sheffield United. He came on as a sub, and this is his first start. Very talented player, Godfrey, but he's missed a lot of football over the last couple of seasons through injury. Everton fans will be delighted to see him back, and we hope he gets through a full 90 minutes here unscathed.
Yeah, big opportunity for him to come into the team, because if you look at Sean Dyche's recent team selections, there's been 1-2 maximum changes. We talk about Newcastle rotating, not been able to rotate, keeping the same team. You look at Sean Dyche's team selection, they're pretty much same 11s played the last 3 or 4 games. His team are doing well, 3 wins, 3 clean sheets. He won't see a need to change, but it's been forced upon him today. Talked about them out of possession in the back 5. We've just seen them in possession, and they're very much a 3. The 2 wing backs push very high up.
Some 0-0 in the early stages. Earlier on today there were wins in the Premier League for Chelsea and for Newcastle. Manchester City did hold a 2-0 lead above Crystal Palace, but ended up drawing that game 2-2. Attacking position down the right hand side for Jakob Brun Larsen, gets to the byline, tries to lash one in strong and low, but Garner did well to get back, and the interception in the end I think comes off Tarkowski. That'll be a corner. First corner of the evening. It's for Burnley, right hand side as they come forward. 5.5 minutes played exactly.
Well, you said about Burnley going to the 4-4-2. We've talked so often this season about Vincent Kompany's style, his reluctancy to change, but they have been more pragmatic in recent weeks. They have gone more direct. Look at the goals that they scored against Sheffield United. And so many seconds from the kickoff, they immediately went long. They went more direct. They have been more resilient. And I think we're going to see two teams today who play a similar way.
Corner is taken short. It's the 91st corner that Burnley have taken in the Premier League this season. They have scored a grand total of 1 goal from all those corners so far this campaign. They're keeping this one outside the box for now. And Dooney swings it back out to the right hand side where Brun Larsen had rolled it short initially. Everton have all 11 players back behind the ball here. Brun Larsen onto his left boot, tries to cross. That's blocked down. Vitinho on the edge of the penalty area. Think of a few urgings from Burnley fans to have a shot. He was a long way out. He chose not to do that. Brownhill's back heel doesn't work at all. And McNeil, another former Burnley player, is on hand to clear the ball away. Tarkowski, McNeil, and of course Dyche. Very strong Burnley connection in this Everton team tonight.
Connor, that's a fantastic stat you've pulled out there. 1 goal from 91 corners. That's incredible. I mean, you think of all the hard work and clubs
that goes into it, yes,
and clubs that are employing set play coaches, and the importance that's put on them. I mean, that's a really poor return.
Yeah, it's you can see why maybe they're beginning to take them short now, because just launching into the box wasn't working. 7 minutes played. Burnley 0, Everton 0. Jordan Bayer on his 12th Premier League appearance rolls it short to his left hand side to Hanny Delcroix, Belgian international. It's his first appearance in over a month. His last game was the League Cup defeat against this evening's opponents when Burnley were beaten by Everton. That was 1st of November. Charlie Taylor, who's been a near ever present for many years in that left back position. I always feel a very underrated player, Charlie Taylor. Always seems to play well when I watch him, but he is absent this evening, having picked up the 5 yellow cards. And speaking of yellow cards, by the way, both managers this evening are 1 booking away from serving a touchline ban, so they'll both be on their best behaviour far side of the pitch.
We've seen a lot more of that this season, haven't we? Managers getting more and more yellow cards for dissent, whether it's to the 4th official or the referees on the field. But no, not surprised with these two. They're quite animated, aren't they?
As long as it's consistent and they do it to everyone the same, and it should bring about the good behaviour. We don't get these yellow cards much more in the future, just because the officials won't be getting the back chat. This is Jordan Bayer back inside his own penalty area, rolling it to the young goalkeeper James Trafford. Boy, he's been busy this season. Comfortable with the ball at his feet, playing it out to the right back position to Vitinho. Burnley sticking to these principles of not just lumping it long. They're not getting as many wins as they want, but they're still trying to play with the verve and the panache that brought them to the Championship title last season. But it's a big difference between the Championship and the Premier League.
And it's taken them a long time, hasn't it, especially at home here. Home form for Burnley is one of the things that they looked at to keep them in this Premier League. They've only got 3 points at home this season, and granted it was against a really poor Sheffield United at the time, who subsequently lost their manager. They've won 2 games this season, Burnley, against Sheffield United and Luton, 2 teams that came up with them.
Here comes McNeil, gets to the byline left hand side, sends it in just too high for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Burnley haven't fully cleared yet though. Here's Doucouré, who's been Everton's top scorer this season. Gives it to the right wing to Jack Harrison, onto his left boot. That's a great cross. McNeil at the back post, heads across the face of goal and wide. Huge chance for Dwight McNeil to score against his old team, and he's not hit the target. What a cross from Harrison.
Jack Harrison does really well down this right hand side, and he doesn't have to do a lot to get the ball into the box. He just cuts back onto his favoured left foot, and he floats the ball to the far post to Dwight McNeil. Vitinho's unaware of the players around him. The fullback's got his body closed. Dwight McNeil ghosts in at the far post. He's got a free header. He should at least hit the target, but he should score. Everton should be 1 up.
2 Premier League goals this season for Dwight McNeil. They've come in his last 3 games. Scored against Forest, scored against Newcastle. Should have scored here back at Turf Moor tonight as Everton come on the attack again, but Dominic Calvert-Lewin has strayed into an offside position. Up goes the flag, and that will be a free kick to Burnley away to our right hand side. Everton fans have held it's kind of ongoing Premier League protest here. They're holding up little pink pieces of paper with the Premier League logo. I presume there's words on that as well. I can't make them out from this distance, but they are making their feelings about the Premier League and that points deduction. It was a month ago yesterday that Everton were deducted 10 points. If they win tonight, they will have picked up 12 points in 4 games. They'll have completely obliterated that deduction already. But certainly the Everton fans are making their thoughts felt about it, and the way Manchester City supporters are known to boo the Champions League anthem, Everton fans were clearly heard booing the Premier League anthem at the start of the game here this evening. Hannah Delcroix tries to clear away, boxed in by Jack Harrison, and that's going to be a throw into Burnley, left full back position for them.
Yeah, out of possession, but Everton have approached this game very interesting. Talk about Burnley's poor home record, and Everton are quite happy to let them have possession, sit with the back five, sit with the 2 holding midfielders protecting that back five, and say go on then, break us down. But when they're in possession, Everton open up, they're very expansive, the 2 wing backs push high, and Decore gets in and around Calvert-Lewin. It'll be interesting to see how Burnley approach this, because they're probably having more possession in this game so far than they have this season.
This is Dara O'Shea on the edge of his own penalty area. Vitinho's clearance is asking a lot of Jakob Brun-Larsen, and he does in fact fail to keep the ball in place, so that's going to be a throw into Everton, left hand side of the field as they come forward. And Sean Dyche down there with his deep gravelly voice bellowing on the instructions, and gives a little thumbs up to whichever player has responded to him the way he wanted to there. He was almost 10 years in the job, brought Burnley into Europe, a couple of promotions. For so long it was synonymous, wasn't it? It wasn't just Burnley, it was Sean Dyche's Burnley. And having already beaten his old team in the League Cup, he'd love to get 3 points off them here in the Premier League this evening. Ball goes out of play, still another Everton throw, still far side of the pitch from us, the left, as the visitors come forward. McNeil has got to take it. Calvert-Lewin makes himself available. Back to Dwight McNeil, forced to retreat back to the halfway line. Spins it to Ben Godfrey. Alongside him is Michael Keane, another with the Burnley connection. Sean Dyche, who signed Michael Keane from Manchester United in 2014. That's a good ball into the penalty area. Nodded down by Calvert-Lewin. Garner tried to control it in spin, lost his footing. Everton fans for a moment thought they might be getting a penalty. The referee says no, and Burnley are able to clear the ball away. Brun-Larsen runs into a bit of a cul-de-sac, taken off him by the energetic Abdoulaye Doucouré. Burnley a little bit scrappy here as they're struggling to put a few passes together and get controlled possession. Bayer will send it out to the right hand side to Vitinho, and he will calmly roll it back to the goalkeeper James Trafford. But Everton applying good pressure at the moment. It is Burnley 0, Everton 0 here. There's been a wicket at the cricket. Here's Kevin Howells.
2 early ones actually, which is great news for England trying to save this series. The West Indies put into bat at 21 for 2 in the 3rd over, but in the space of 5 balls, openers Brandon King, clean ball by Moeen Ali for 8, and Carl Mayers caught by the keeper Butler off the bowling of Reece Topley for a duck. So good start, 21 for 2 in the 3rd over.
Thanks very much, Kevin. Here at Turf Moor, Burnley 0, Everton 0. And Everton have got themselves a corner down the right-hand side. Paul Robinson.
Yeah, Jack Harrison again pushing forward in this wide position. When he gets there, he looks to double up with the fullbacks, double up on him, and he's done really, really well to win his team a corner. He was under pressure and he could see that he was going nowhere. Wins his team a corner. It's Dwight McNeil who drops down to this bottom right-hand side. It's going to be a left-footed in-swinger from this near side.
Yeah, we mentioned Burnley don't score from corners. Everton certainly do. There's a delivery that was good. It hit a whip towards the back post, and James Trafford backpedaling had to shuffle it away. And you can see why Everton have scored a lot of goals from corners this season. That was a very dangerous delivery from Dwight McNeil. Really
good delivery. Everton have packed the box. It's something they've obviously worked on. They've looked at the goalkeeper, James Trafford, last week. He was excellent at Brighton, made 10 saves and he kept his team in the game, got them the point. But this is something Everton have clearly worked on.
So another corner, this time from the left-hand side as Everton come forward. Again, it's high and in-swinging towards the back post. Trafford fumbles it a bit. He fell into his own goal mouth, the goalkeeper, as he pushed the ball away. And goalkeeper's always a very protected species. James Tarkowski deemed to have fouled James Trafford, and that's going to be a free kick to Burnley on their own goal line.
You wanted me to defend goalkeepers. I've said before,
representing the goalkeepers union, here is Paul Robinson.
My card's been well and truly revoked in place of honesty since I've been doing this job. Definitely overprotected.
Trafford's clearance straight down the middle, straight to Tarkowski, who's got the wherewithal to chest it down and to roll it back to Jordan Pickford away to our left-hand side. Everton have kept clean sheets in the last 3 Premier League games in a row. Jordan Pickford, who's always gets a little bit of scrutiny, and that's what's going to happen when you're first choice for England, but he has done a very good job in recent weeks.
He has, along with the back four that's been in front of him, and we said it's changed today to a 5, but the back four has been pretty settled. Ashley Young, Tarkowski, Branthwaite and Mikolenko. And as you said, there's 3 of the 4 that would normally play missing tonight, so it's not only interesting to see his personnel change, but his shape change as well.
Here comes Calvert-Lewin down the left wing. Trafford decided he was going to sprint out of the penalty area, and he just got there first, sliding in front of Dominic Calvert-Lewin and pushing the ball out of play for a throw into Everton. So almost all of this game so far has been away to our right hand side, the end that Everton are attacking. Dwight McNeil takes the throw in and then gets it back from Doucouré. Back to the halfway line go Everton to James Tarkowski. He unleashes a long, ambitious but very accurate crossfield ball which picks out Nathan Patterson. And then it breaks down for Everton as Godfrey's pass has too much of Patterson with the return, and that trickles out for. It went out right by the corner flag, and I'm assuming it went out on the goal kick side. A goal kick to Burnley away to our right hand side. Match of the day this evening, 10:25. Gary Lineker alongside Danny Murphy and Shay Given in the studio. The goalkeepers are taking over now, even Shay Given. I don't think he's ever done a Saturday match of the day before, so he's in.
What do goalkeepers know about football?
Oh, no, exactly. This is James Trafford, who is a very promising young goalkeeper and who made quite the name for himself with England's exploits in the under-21 Euros in the summer. Great to see him getting Premier League football so quickly. And his clearance there is towards Rodriguez, who couldn't control, and then when it came back to Calvert-Lewin, he's offside, and the flag goes up, and that is going to be a free kick to Burnley just on the edge of their own penalty area. Burnley have 8 points to show for their 16 Premier League games so far, and the problem is that no team in the Premier League era has ever stayed up having got just 8 points from their first 16 games. But there's a first time for everything, and it's certainly still possible for Vincent Kompany's team to turn things around, and they have looked much better in recent weeks. Here's Delcroix under pressure from Jack Harrison. An unnecessary attempt of a back heel there from Wilson Odegaard has put his team in trouble here. Chance to cross from Patterson. Calvert-Lewin's header, what a save! James Trafford gets down low to his left. Such a tricky position for the goalkeeper, and he pushes it away from danger too, and out for a corner. Best chance of the game. Superb save from James Trafford.
Well, James Trafford saves his team yet again early on. It's down this right hand side. It's an interchange between Patterson and Harrison. This time it's Harrison who lays on Patterson, who puts a great ball in. Calvert-Lewin 6 yards out, heads it down in front of the goalkeeper to his left, bounces in front of him, gets a really strong palm on it and pushes it round for a corner.
Superb header from Calvert-Lewin. I think if you gave him a few goes of that, that's where he would have put a difficult location for the keeper to get to. Another Everton corner. Dwight McNeil places it very carefully. This is right hand side of the pitch as Everton come forward. He raises both hands as a signal to the teammates in the middle, most of them at the back post. Again, it's swirling in towards the keeper, and it's headed in. It's into the back of the net, and it's Onana, I think. There's a few of them celebrating it, but Amadou Onana with the stooping header as he rose up above the goalkeeper and headed downwards. And Everton, for the 7th time in the Premier League this season, score from a corner. Their fans celebrate. They hope they're on their way to a 4th Premier League win in a row. Burnley 0, Everton 1.
It's another fantastic delivery by Dwight McNeil. It's a packed 6-yard box. They're blocking James Trafford. It's something clearly that Everton have worked on. Onana rises above everyone in the 6-yard box. It's a fantastic delivery onto Onana's head. Great header from him. He times his jump perfectly well, but it's not the first time. It's not the warning. Burnley have had warnings that this has been coming. They packed the 6-yard box. It's the same delivery. It's not a worked on set play. It's something that's so simple. You put bodies in the box, you surround the goalkeeper, you make it difficult, and you've got players attacking the ball, and Everton do that very well. They make no apologies for putting the ball into the box, and Andre Onana climbs above everybody else.
It's a wonderful hang time from Amadou Onana there, like an NBA basketball player. He gets up, and even though he's higher than everyone, then he's stooping down. He really looked like men against boys there as he, bulldozed the ball into the back of net. That was a power play from Everton, and Sean Dyche will love that. Back at Turf Moor, roll up your sleeves, get stuck in, and get the opening goal inside 20 minutes.
Well, they've been very good. They've been putting balls into the box. They've been very good at winning second balls. That's something that Sean works very, very hard on. They'll put a ball into an area, long passes, long balls, whatever you want to describe it as. But this second phase is what's important. They've done that. They've worked extremely hard. They've won second balls and they've got their just reward.
I'm sure if you've been listening to 5 Live through the evening, you'll be aware of the situation in the Bournemouth-Luton game, which had to be abandoned because of concerns for the health of the Luton captain, Tom Lockyer. We've got some developments on that, which will bring you in just a moment, but Dwight McNeil has a chance to break over the halfway line. Good covering back, and the ball is won by Sander Berge for his team. So let's nip back to Bournemouth. Aaron Paul has been across proceedings, and Aaron, I believe there's a new statement being released.
Yeah, we've just had a statement from Luton Town. It reads, our medical staff have confirmed that the Hatters captain suffered cardiac arrest on the pitch but was responsive by the time he was taken off on a stretcher. He received further treatment inside the stadium, for which we once again thank the medical teams from both sides. Tom was transferred to hospital, where we can reassure supporters that he's stable and currently undergoing further tests with his family at his bedside. We would like to thank everyone for their support, concern and loving messages for Locks.
Thanks very much, Aaron. And we'll be back to Aaron Paul if there's any further developments. But Paul Robinson, we've all been given a bit of a scare this afternoon. That is wonderful news to hear that, at least the situation be stabilised. I'm sure there'll be more recovery needed for Tom Lockyer, but bottom line is he's okay for now.
Oh, it's fantastic news. Our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family. But for it to happen twice in such a short space of time for him, and I think the correct decision in abandoning the game was made, and we just wish everybody involved in the situation the very best. Yeah,
right decision to abandon the game, and well done to all involved, and as I said, our thoughts to Tom Lockyer and his family, but good news for now is what's emanating with that latest statement from Luton. Burnley 0, Everton 1 here at Turf Moor. This is 5 Live for the BBC. It's the 5:30 game in the Premier League. Amadou Onana's goal, his first in the Premier League this season, only his second Premier League goal since joining Everton, but he did score against Burnley in the League Cup last month, and he's done very well with his header there. Now, chance for Odegaard to break into the penalty area for Burnley. Gets it into Jay Rodriguez. Decent turn, very good defending Tarkowski against his former teammate. Tarkowski wasn't fooled by the little swivel by Rodriguez. He kept his eye on the ball and he made the block inside the 6-yard box, and Everton cleared it away. And that's really the first time in the game that Burnley have been able to work the ball that deep into the Everton penalty area. They're going to try and do it again here. Jakob Brun-Larsen to the byline right hand side, hangs in across. Tarkowski again, doesn't quite clear it out of the penalty area. Brownhill nudges it back in, but straight to Ben Godfrey, and Burnley aren't able to get a shot at the end of this, and Everton are able to clear away midway through the first half at Turf Moor. Burnley 0, Everton 1. Paul Robinson.
They've done a lot better since going 1 goal behind. Burnley, Odegaard down this left hand side and Brun-Larsen down the right. They've put balls in behind this Everton defence. They've got into the box. The final pass, the final decision hasn't quite been there, but they've been better since going behind. But the thing is, Everton are sitting deep, soaking up possession, and when the turnover of possession is on, Burnley commit too many men forward. Everton are 1 or 2 passes away from being in a dangerous situation.
So Burnley behind early here. Their last home game couldn't have gone much better. They beat Sheffield United by 5-0 here. As Dwight McNeil charges from the halfway line, almost into the penalty area, lets fly with the left-footed shot, but defender leaning into him. It is both high and wide from Dwight McNeil. It remains Burnley 0, Everton 1. Burnley, who this season became the first team in the history of English top-flight football to lose all of their first 7 home games in a row this campaign. But that 5-0 win against Sheffield United suggested a turn in the tide is possible. Setback now for Vincent Kompany, though, with that Amadou Onana goal that has Everton in front. Jordan Bayer has possession of the back for Burnley, rolls it to the goalkeeper James Trafford, who's wearing a dark goalkeeping kit. He comes out of his box quite a bit and then plays it right-footed, long looking for Odegaard, skims over the top of his head, and very confident Nathan Patterson does a little Cruyff turn, too confident, he's given it away. Chance here for Burnley. Amadou tries to chip it into the penalty area, looking for Jakob Brun-Larsen, and Nathan Patterson is relieved that there was enough teammates back there and Everton were able to clear away.
You can certainly see a change in Burnley's style at times. They are still playing, they are still trying to pass through the lines and break the lines and keep the ball on the floor. But at the start of the season, we weren't seeing James Trafford do that. He's got the ball on the edge of his box and he's looked forward, he's looked long, and he's looked to put the ball into areas that then causes problems. Patterson, he had control of the ball and he lost possession and give Burnley an opportunity, but that's Burnley going a little bit more direct than we have seen them.
It's a very young team, this Burnley side. They've had the second youngest average age of of any starting 11s in the Premier League this season. Trafford, the goalkeeper, just turned 21. Coutinho's 24, O'Shea's 24, Bayer's 23, Delcroix's 24. Good shot by Michael Keane, comes back to him a second time and it's in. There's no flag, and a ball lobbed into the penalty area for the free kick, set up for Michael Keane. And when it came back to him the second time, he slotted it inside footed. Everton doubled their lead, 25 minutes played, and it is 2-0, and Burnley are in big trouble now.
Once again, Burnley struggle with the ball into the box, a long ball. So often do we see this free kick from Sean Dyche's team. The ball's 10 yards inside his own half, and he's got Jordan Pickford, the goalkeeper, taking the free kick. He launches it high and long to the edge of the box. Tarkowski gets up and he flicks it onto Michael Keane. He gets his initial strike, which James Trafford makes a decent save. The ball comes back to Michael Keane. He hits the first one really well. The rebound comes back to him, taps it into a net, empty net. But again, it's a set play, it's a long ball, it's direct, it's from Jordan Pickford, it's a header from Tarkowski, it's a shot, it's a rebound. They make no apologies for what they do. They're so efficient at it.
Well, Everton, as things stand, are on their way up to 16th in the table. They will overtake Nottingham Forest, 16 points from 16 games, and that includes the points deduction. Were it not for that, it'll be 26 points, and right now Everton, as things stand, will be level with Brighton in the top 8.
And let's not forget, there's an appeal still going on. There's a lot of discussion about the 10 points. Was it harsh? Is it the correct punishment? And with an appeal, we generally normally see a softening of a punishment, and if that's the case, at some point Everton may get some points back as well.
The goals from Onana and from Keane, and Burnley didn't cover themselves in glory with the defending of either of them. Godfrey a little uncertain on the edge of his own penalty area, but Tarkowski sweeps in behind and is able to clear the ball away. Everton have been very impressive so far. It's amazing what confidence does to a team. I saw a lot of Everton last season and they had so little confidence, and it's pretty much the same players down there, but Sean Dyche has got this team believing in themselves again as Odobert here wins a corner for Burnley down the left.
Absolutely, they're believing in themselves, they're believing in what they do, and like you say, they look like a team full of confidence. 3 clean sheets, 3 wins against Newcastle and Chelsea in there as well. I mean, we know Chelsea aren't exactly where they'd want to be at the moment, but still, it's a tough game for them. This Everton team could have used excuses. They've lost 10 points. The dressing room could have been full of excuses and poor performances, but they've gone the other way.
Here comes the Burnley corner, swung in by Jakob Brun-Larsen, flicked onto the front post, an attempt of a shot by Jordan Bayer. Comes back, ricocheted off a defender for Brun-Larsen on the left-hand side. Onto his left, and he's given that way too much welly. He's crossed, he got into a good position, but he struck it way too firmly, and it sails over everyone, and it goes out for a throw-in on the far side.
Yeah, and other than the Sheffield United game at home this year, they have lacked a bit of quality in the final third. They've struggled for goals in certain areas. You look at Joe Rodriguez and Dooney, they haven't scored the goals that they've needed away from that Sheffield United game. They look like they took a bit of confidence away from that. They went to Brighton and got a fantastic draw, but again today they look like a team that just lack a little bit of an edge in the final third.
We are midway through December. Those 2 Everton goals mean that Burnley have now conceded more goals in the Premier League so far this season than they did in all of the Championship last season. Onana makes an important interception on the edge of his penalty area. Loose ball is picked up by Delcroix, in for the suspended Taylor at left back for Burnley today. Sander Berger will play it out to the far side to the Brazilian Vitinho. And that's a decent ball into the path of Brun-Larsen, who tried to pull it back for the byline. He was looking for Jay Rodriguez, but it wasn't accurate enough. And Tarkowski, who has a knack of always being in the right place at the right time in that sort of situation, was on hand to clear the ball away. Free kick has been given to Everton anyway, edge of their own penalty area.
Well, the change of shape for Sean Dyche would appear to be working. The Everton fans are away to our right hand side are certainly enjoying their evening out at Turf Moor. They've looked good, Everton. They've put the ball into certain areas. They've won second balls, and it's been 2 set plays that they've capitalised on. They always look dangerous, and Burnley do look susceptible. It's clearly something that the manager's worked on with them.
Yep, pretty much half of Everton's Premier League goals this season have come from set pieces. I think coming into this weekend, only Arsenal had a higher proportion than that, as a leap from Calvert-Lewin, but he can't get a touch on it, and the ball trickles back to James Trafford, the Burnley goalkeeper, who's already been beaten twice. Most of the noise we're hearing at Turf Moor at the moment is coming from the Everton fans. They're all housed away to our right-hand side. They had a good close-up view of the 2 goals their team have scored. Amadou Onana and Michael Keane, both of them scoring in the Premier League for the first time this season. Half an hour played now. Possession with Jordan Pickford away to our left-hand side. And Everton enjoying life as things stand, despite the very difficult circumstances that they've had to endure. And, you know, really not just this season, but the last few seasons, it's been so fraught, so much misery for Everton, and they're just hoping maybe they finally turn the corner now under Sean Dyche.
Well, the last time that they kept 4 Premier League clean sheets in a row was 2002, so that just shows where they've been in recent years, Everton. I mean, 4 wins in a row could be the first time since 2020 under Ancelotti. They've had a tough, turbulent couple of years of Everton. And with this off the field, developments what's happened with the points deduction, it really has galvanised the team. Sean Dyche has closed that dressing room door. He's got his team together, he's got his players together, they're controlling the controllables, and they're winning football matches.
Yeah, they're very much controlling this game. Burnley 0, Everton 2. 30 minutes on the big stadium clock. 4 Premier League commentaries available to listen to from BBC Radio Sport tomorrow. We've got Arsenal against Brighton, that's a 2 o'clock game. Listen on 5 Live. At that same time, we've got Brentford against Aston Villa available on Sports Extra. And another 2 o'clock kickoff, West Ham Wolves, available to listen online via the BBC Sport website and app. And then it all builds up to the main course of the weekend. Liverpool against Manchester United at Anfield, a 4:30 start. Full commentary with correspondent John Murray here on 5 Live tomorrow afternoon. There's Rugby Union European Champions Cup games continuing over the weekend on 5 Live and Sports Extra. And also where you'll find on Sports Extra the first test between Australia and Pakistan, and the Women's Super League football, and the NFL as well, which you can listen out in the later hours. At Turf Moor, Burnley 0, Everton 2. Delcroix has possession. In for Taylor, gives it to Jordan Bayer in field of him. And for once there's no big, high, energetic Everton press as Burnley are allowed to stroll up to the halfway line. But they need fresh ideas here, Vincent Kompany's team. Back to the edge of their own penalty area again. Dara O'Shea brings it out from the back. Oh, poor clearance. He's given it straight to Doucouré. Doucouré back to Calvert-Lewin. He's been taken down. Free kick to Everton. More evidence of Burnley looking unsettled at the back. Let's go back to Kevin Howells watching the cricket.
Yeah, big difference. Adil Rashid here for England, but also recovery for the West Indies. A 3rd wicket down, but they're now 62 for 3 in the 8th over. Immediately, Adil Rashid called into action. He's got rid of Shea Hope. 26 off 19 balls. West Indies 62 for 3 in the 8th over.
Thanks very much, Kevin. Earlier on today in the Premier League, Chelsea beat Sheffield United by 2-0 at Stamford Bridge. Manchester City were 2-0 up against Crystal Palace, but Palace came back for 2-2. That was at the Etihad. And Newcastle, after a tricky week, have turned things around with a 3-0 win against Fulham at St James's Park. 2-0 to Everton here so far. The game between Bournemouth and Luton was abandoned. Concerns for the health of Tom Lockyer, who did suffer cardiac arrest on the pitch, but is responsive now to treatment and has been taken to hospital. Sander Berge wins the header from the Everton free kick. Comes down for Tarkowski, who'd gone forward, and he's got 2 opponents around him, and he's right up against the chalk of the touchline. Eventually the ball goes out of play for a throw-in to Burnley. That's the left full-back position for them. Paul.
It's Burnley just going to have to be careful giving these set plays away, because it really is a dangerous situation for Everton every time that they get a free kick. Anytime near the halfway line, they'll put the ball into the box, and Burnley have struggled defending them. They're giving away silly free kicks that they don't need to give away, and every time they get it, they put it into the box, and a goal-scoring chance nearly always, or a second ball is won by Everton.
Burnley, who've had 2 Premier League wins this season, both of them against the other newly promoted clubs. They've beaten Luton and they've beaten Sheffield United, but they are being well beaten here so far by a determined Everton team whose fans are thoroughly enjoying what they've seen from these opening 33-34 minutes. Throw in for Dwight McNeil in the left wing back position, far side of the pitch from us, just in front of Vincent Kompany, who's got the white trainers on, heavy winter coat, trademark baseball cap. McNeil gives it up to Calvert-Lewin on the halfway line. Back to McNeil. Nice quick feet to release Jack Harrison, who's over on the left wing at the moment, and he'll give it to James Garner. Garner into the penalty area. Good defending by the German at Jordan Bayer. The two of them then tussle by the corner flag, and the ball goes out of play. And that's going to be a throw in to Burnley. But Everton looking dangerous on the counter-attack. That's the trouble for Burnley. They must push up now. They're 2 goals down, but pushing up means creating space for Everton.
Yeah, that's the worry that Burnley have got. In possession, they will look to commit bodies forward. They have to get back into this game somehow. They haven't really hurt Everton. Everton are sitting there with a back 3, 5 out of possession, and they're saying to Burnley, go on then, what can you do to us? And at the moment, Everton are winning the second balls back, they're winning possession back, and Burnley aren't really getting near them. It's quite comfortable for Everton at this stage of the game.
Pickford launches it long, looking for Patterson down the right hand side, jumping with Delcroix. Last touch off the Burnley man. I thought that the officials who've got a closer view say no, other way round, and it'll be a throw in for Hannah Delcroix, number 44 on his back. This is midway inside Burnley territory, and the home fans have gone quiet because this game against their former manager has not started well for Burnley. Sanderberger allows it to bounce. Michael Keane lunges in for Everton. Then down goes Onana, and I think Brownhill, as much as anything, pushed into him as he was in the air, so he's fallen awkwardly. He's holding his foot. Now maybe it was a kick, but I think he might have fallen awkwardly, Onana. Either way, it's a free kick to Everton on the halfway line,
which Jordan Pickford is slowly walking up, approaching the 2-3 centre-halves that Everton have got. They're going towards the edge of the box, and it'll be put forward again. But to Sean Dyche's change to the back 5, you can see why he's done it with Burnley, with Odegaard on one side, Brun Larsen, Delcroix, the inexperienced defensive side of things. He's overloading them in wide areas.
Pickford takes the free kick high into the penalty area, headed on by Tarkowski, but plucked from the sky by James Trafford, who had to react just in front of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But Tarkowski, who is so effective, Burnley fans know all about that. For years they saw him win headers in both penalty areas, and now they've got to cope with their former player against them today. This is a good surge. Bears made up about 50 yards running from inside his own half, but then he lays it off to Jay Rodriguez, who I think wasn't ready to receive it. Groans from the Burnley fans as their team gives up cheap possession. They get it back again on the halfway line. Baird to Delcroix, short to Odegaard, who's starting wide on the left, where Luca Koleosho has played for most of this season for Burnley, but we won't see him again for the rest of the campaign. His knee injury is going to keep him out till next season. Everton come forward on the left, where they're overloading down that side at the moment. Sean Dyche has got both Jack Harrison and Dwight McNeil playing on the left wing at the moment, but the referee, with the ball in a neutral position, is going to bring it back because Odegaard is on the ground, and he's holding his face. The head injury, the referee obliged to bring play to a halt. I think James Garner fell on top of him as much as anything, and maybe stood in him, or I've just seen the replay. Garner's boot does kick towards his face, doesn't it?
Odegaard looks like he's tried to make a tackle with his body. He knows he's going to ground, and he's thrown himself on the floor in front of James Garner.
Linebacker stuff.
There's not a lot else that James Garner could have done. He's thrown himself almost head first in front of the player.
I think, to be fair to the referee, he didn't give it as a foul. It's just because of the head injury protocols that he has had to blow the whistle there, and both sets of players are going to take advantage of this and go across for a little mini team talk and a little drink as well. Here at Turf Moor, where I don't know what you feel, Paul, it's not as cold as I was expecting. I feel I've gone too many layers here. How are you getting on?
I had to delayer. Went for a walk this morning and I was pleasantly surprised. And I think we've had to delayer. I mean, I think this is 3 or 4 times I've been here this season, and I've been pleasantly surprised by the climate.
And sometimes you'll come here in August and you'll need the husky dogs and the ski gear, but it's surprisingly not too bad. And we are right at the very summit of Turf Moor. You can't get any higher than our seats, looking down onto the pitch here. Vincent Kompany has all the players in a huddle, and he's giving the little impromptu team talk here, and it's difficult to see how Burnley are going to get back into this.
They're well versed at this now, the players, aren't they? When you see a break in play like this, you know that the physios come on, the players immediately go over to the two managers. It's almost like a timeout in other sports. The players know what to do, the managers get a little bit of time with the players, and when the referee decides it's ready, that the game will restart.
Well, I don't think I feel that Odegaard was hurt there and he wasn't doing anything else, but you see it so often in games, and it's usually the goalkeeper who needs treatment, and it's always around this half an hour mark, which of course then provides the opportunity for the team talk. And the reason the goalkeeper, because they don't have to leave the field having received treatment.
Obviously having played and having managers that you manage games and you manage your way through games, managers will quite often say to you as a goalkeeper, if there's a certain stage in a game, you're the only one that if you go down injured, you can't come off the field. If we're under a bit of pressure, take yourself down for a while and give the team a breather.
Yeah, well, it's nothing new, is it? And every team does it. So I don't think anyone gains a particular advantage, and both teams got to have their little team talk there. Sean Dyche must be very pleased. I mean, this is a red letter date in his calendar. 610 days since he was sacked here. He'll have been looking forward to the return, knowing his team will be in form, and They've played as well so far in this game as I've seen them this season. Cross from Patterson from the left-hand side, headed away by Jordan Byer on the edge of his own 6-yard box. That goes out for a throw into Everton, level with the edge of the penalty area. They attack on the right.
I thought Sean Dyche's words in this week leading up to this game were very Sean Dyche. Very much looking forward to coming back to Everton, but there's no sentiment once the whistle goes. No. He wants to come here and prove a point, which rightly so. I mean, he had a fantastic tenure here. Did great things on a limited budget, and probably felt the way that he left the club was undue. We saw the reception that he got walking back across the pitch before the game. The fans, they love him here and they respect everything that he's done.
This is Josh Brownhill, who was a Sean Dyche signing for Burnley, just outside his own penalty area. Sander Berger rolls it back to James Trafford. The goalkeeper puts the big boot on it up over the halfway line, where the solid forehead of James Tarkowski heads the ball back into Burnley territory once again. Dwight McNeil gets it down on the deck. It ricocheted up into his face there. That'll have been a painful one. He just leans forward. It's a sting more than anything else for Dwight McNeil as he just loosens his shirt and wipes his face. But throw in for Everton, which McNeil will take on the left-hand side. Everton have got Fulham in the League Cup here on Tuesday. Then they've got Tottenham away in the Premier League next weekend. I was at the City Ground last night, and Sean Dyche was there running the rule over Ange Postecoglou's team, who look to be back in business. Your old club, Tottenham, Paul, after that run, what was it, 5 games without a win? They've now won 2 in a row.
Well, they do, and I think it's because the drop-off was so dramatic after the Chelsea game. The performances and the results all came together. If you drip feed those into the results and performances from the start of the season, look at where they are in the league and take it all as a whole, you'd say they're having a pretty good season.
Do you know my main piece of insight from the City Ground last night? Ange Postecoglou, what nickname do you associate? What do they call him? They call him what, Ange?
Yeah.
What do they call him?
Big Ange.
Big Ange, right? Now, I'm not tall. I'm 5'10" on a good day in shoes. I'm taller than Ange Postecoglou. He's not big that way. No, big personality, but he's not tall.
And I think the way that his personality is, and he holds a room.
Yes, absolutely. Big presence, which doesn't quite have the same nick to it as Big Ange.
Whatever he is, the Spurs fans love him.
Absolutely. No, talk's a great game, and his team, even in those games they were being beaten, by the way, they've played so well in recent weeks. We're not missing any live action here. Onana's one of the goal scorers for Everton. He's been down on his knees. Referee comes across to check that he's okay. Play will resume for a throw into Everton. Far side of the pitch from us, level with the edge of the penalty area that they attack. Harrison, recipient of it, but he can't control, and the ball goes straight back out of play for a throw in to Burnley. A few groans, a few disgruntled murmurs from Burnley fans who, after that 5-0 win against Sheffield United last time out, this has been a bit of a bursting of the balloon once again this evening. 2.5 minutes to go to half-time, 2-0 Burnley trail.
Yeah, and they haven't offered a lot in this first half, Burnley. Can't remember Jordan Pickford having to make any save of note, and that's probably hence the reason that a lot of the Burnley fans are disappearing for an early Bovril.
But I've heard you're partial to a Bovril, Paul Robinson. I was told that.
I got one at Stockport the other night. We were doing Stockport Aldershot in the FA Cup. It was freezing.
And go on, I know more than this than you realise.
The producer pulled out a Bovril at half time.
What else did he pull out? What was the snack? Wagon wheels, I believe.
Wheels, well,
the BBC understands that you're a Bovril wagon wheels man.
I just take the Bovril. Not together though. They don't go very well.
No, I was going to say separately. Yeah. Main course and dessert kind of scenario there. Still not missing any action. The ball away to our right hand side inside the Burnley penalty area. Half-time fast approaching. We'll be back with Chappers over the break. We'll see if there's any update on the Tom Lockyer situation. If you're just tuning in at 5 Live, you missed the news earlier on. The Bournemouth Luton game was abandoned in the second half because Lockyer, who's a history of having a heart condition, and he collapsed on the pitch back in the playoffs in the summer. Collapsed on the pitch again at Bournemouth today. He was given medical treatment there. He was taken by ambulance to hospital. Game did not resume, but we're told that he has been responsive and he's getting care, and that he has been stabilised, and we'll keep you right up to date if there are any further developments in that story. Here at Turf Moor, one-way traffic in Everton's favour. Can Burnley turn it around? Wilson Odegaard skips away from Patterson, but he can't get past Godfrey as well, and down he goes, and that's going to be a free kick to Burnley just outside the penalty area. It's a crossing rather than shooting position, but that's a bit better from Wilson Odobert. Bit of bite to his attack down the left.
That's one way that they've had in tonight, the little possession and the little attacking threat that they've had. Burnley, Odobert down this left-hand side against Patterson, just skips past him again. Patterson just catches him as he's passed, and Burnley have got an opportunity to put the ball in the box from a wide area as we approach half-time.
Well, from a neutral point of view, a Burnley goal back would make things a little bit more exciting. From a Burnley point of view, they desperately need it. They're clawing with their fingernails for something now. Jakob Brun-Larsen will be the in-swinging option, and Josh Brownhill is standing there presumably as an out-swinging option. Body language will suggest it's the Dane who's going to take it. Everton have got everyone back defending it inside the penalty area. Here it comes from Brun-Larsen, in-swinging, headed away by Patterson, back into the mix by Vitinho. Bit of head tennis on the edge of the box, and then it's booted away by Amadou Onana. Anywhere will do. Sends it back down the field, and Brownhill will roll it back to the goalkeeper Trafford. We're into stoppage time. 4 minutes been added on here ahead of the break at Turf Moor. As O'Shea tries to bring it out, and he's been caught in possession. Chance for Everton. McNeil into the penalty area. O'Shea tries to get back, and he's done well. Darragh O'Shea makes the challenge to rectify his own mistake, but that could have been 3-0 for Everton ahead of half-time.
Really good centre-forward work from Dominic Calvert-Lewin. O'Shea out on the right-hand side, isolated on his own. Calvert-Lewin gets a sniff that he's got a chance. He does really well, slides across, wins the ball, gets Dwight McNeil into a great position. He realises there's nobody in the box, realises that he can't put a cross and it would be wasted. Plays it off the Burnley defender, wins his side yet another corner.
So set pieces have been productive for Everton. Can they make this one count in stoppages at the end of the first half? Right in front of the travelling fans. Here comes the in-swinger towards the front post, flicked on by Michael Keane, but it flicks too high and it sails over the crossbar. Well, Nana got the first goal, Keane got the second. Burnley 0, Everton 2. Trafford, with no time to waste, takes the goal kick, finds Delcroix up towards the halfway line. He'll be taken on by Amdouni. He looks up, and again you can hear the groans. They want the team going forward. He didn't have options there, and he's turned on the halfway line and played it back to the defenders, and that's not what the Burnley supporters want to see. I mean, this is all a million light years away from the Championship last season, when Burnley pretty much blew everyone away with attacking football. They're finding it much more difficult to turn defence into attack here in the top flight. Brun-Larsen here with a nutmeg, okay, but he can't get around to collect it to the other side, and it's picked up by Pickford, and Everton very much in control.
Very much in control. Even when they're out of possession, they don't look like they're in trouble. Burnley don't look like they can hurt Everton when they've got the ball. I mean, Everton have had great chances in good areas, but this is an Everton team that aren't worried about having possession. Chelsea had 72% of possession last week against them. It was a defensive display, and they hurt Chelsea in the areas that they could. They're not overly worried about dominating possession. They do it when they need to in key areas.
And that's it. You know, it's not like they're absolutely bombarding James Trafford in the Burnley goal. They are choosing their moments, and when they do come on the attack, Everton look very organised, very effective. Baird chips the ball forward. This is good. Into the penalty area. Amdouni must score. What a defensive intervention. Ben Godfrey sliding back. He ends up inside his own goal net, but somehow, miraculously, he's cleared the ball away. Amdouni was ready to side foot that in. Superb defending from Ben Godfrey to keep Everton's lead at 2-0.
Well, we all tune into Match of the Day to watch goals and spectacular finishes. That's one of the best clearances that you'll see from Ben Godfrey. How he's hooked that off the goal line for his team, I have no idea. Absolutely fantastic defending.
Very alert play on what is his first Premier League start to the season. Sean Dyche will be as pleased about that as he is about the 2 goals down the other end. Burnley from the corner aren't able to do anything, and we're into the final 40 seconds or so of stoppages here ahead of half-time.
That was brilliant from Ben Godfrey. His awareness. Amdouni was in front of him. He's got the wrong side of him, and he still gets back. He slides, and when he slides across the front of Amdouni, you're thinking it can only go in one place. He can only put it in his net. He somehow manages to hook his foot round and put it wide. That could be a really big point in this game.
It was Vitinho who sent in the cross. It's the first time Vitinho's gone in around the back of the full-back, and it very nearly opened the door for Burnley. Maybe Vincent Kompany will see some green shoots of encouragement in that, but in truth, it's a missed opportunity. Down goes Garner. He's been fouled. Free kick to Everton, midway inside the Burnley half. And this might well be the final action of this opening period. So for Sean Dyche, who's only once ever in his managerial career been in the visiting dugout at Turf Moor, and that was his first ever game as a manager when he was Watford boss in the Championship 12 years ago. He was in the away dugout, and here tonight, having spent most of his managerial life on the other side of the halfway line, he's looking on and his team are comfortably in front. Dwight McNeil sends in the free kick. Trafford comes and it's taken. Now the Everton fans were making all sorts of claims that there might have been a foul on Tarkowski there. VAR will have a look at it. And for a moment I thought the referee was going to hold it up to see was there a VAR review. It's not. It's the whistle from Anthony Taylor to indicate half-time. So Sean Dyche, with a purposeful stride, makes his way across the playing pitch and towards the tunnel in the corner, because the goals from Onana and Michael Keane have Everton fully in control here. Paul Robinson.
Yeah, it's been a really, really good performance from Everton so far. Change of shape, change of personnel, but same work ethic and same result. They're on a fantastic run of results at the moment, and when they're playing like that, they're going to be very, very difficult for any team to beat. Burnley have just had a really good opportunity before half-time. Both managers will have words to say to their team. Interesting second half we've got coming up.
Yeah, that clearance was very important from Ben Godfrey, but in a way, Mark Chapman, it sums up Burnley's predicament at the moment. They cannot catch a break, and they're in trouble here. Burnley 0, Everton 2.
Second half on the way with Connor and Paul. 6:20. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live. Let's return to the major story of the afternoon, and that is Luton captain Tom Lockyer, who suffered a cardiac arrest midway through the second half of their Premier League game at Bournemouth. He received treatment inside the stadium and was responsive by the time he was taken off the pitch on a stretcher. Lockyer was then transferred to hospital. Five Live Sports' Aaron Paul is still at the Vitality Stadium. Aaron.
Hello, Mark. Yeah, all quiet here. The stadium virtually empty, but the groundsman on the pitch just raking over it. But as you mentioned there, Luton Town have released a further statement this evening from their initial one. It's following the collapse of Captain Tom Lockyer just short of the hour mark at the Vitality Stadium. The club can confirm that their defender suffered a cardiac arrest on pitch, but that the Wales defender was responsive by the time he was taken off on a stretcher. Lockyer received further treatment inside the stadium, for which Luton Town thanked medical teams from both sides, and was then transferred to hospital. The club wrote further that they wished to reassure supporters that their captain was stable and undergoing further tests with his family alongside him. Luton concluded by thanking everyone for their support, concern and loving messages for Lockyer, and the best wishes and love from all of us here at 5 Live are with the Luton defender and his family this evening.
Aaron Paul at the Vitality Stadium. As far as the football is concerned, we will bring you reaction to the day's Premier League and Championship scores and WSL after the latest BBC News with Giuliano Casaday.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Israel's military's revealed that 3 hostages who were shot dead by mistake in Gaza yesterday were holding a white flag at the time. And investigations found the 3 men emerged from a building stripped to their waists. An Israeli soldier thought they were a threat and opened fire. A man's been killed after a van struck a group of people in Ilkeston in Derbyshire. 1 person suffered serious injuries and died at the scene, while 2 other people were taken to hospital. A man's been arrested on suspicion of murder. Police investigating the disappearance of a woman from Norwich say a post-mortem examination carried out on a body found yesterday shows no evidence of third-party involvement. Gaynor Lord, who's 55, went missing more than a week ago. Formal identification hasn't yet taken place. And Rishi Sunak has warned that European countries will be overwhelmed if there's a failure to tackle illegal migration. He was speaking at a far-right political event in Rome, organised by the party of the Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni.
Whodunits, crime conundrums, murderous mayhem.
Why are you doing that voice?
I'm just getting in the mood for our new podcast.
Murder, They Wrote.
Hey, I'm Laura Whitmore.
And I'm Ian Sterling.
Now, anyone who knows us knows we are obsessed with true crime.
We're here with a new podcast exploring the dastardly deeds of history's most atrocious criminals.
There'll be mystery, madness, and moments of... oh my God.
Murder, They Wrote with Laura Whitmore and Ian Sterling.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sports with Mark Chapman.
On 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
It's Burnley 0, Everton 2 at half-time. As far as the 3 o'clock games were concerned, Bournemouth Luton abandoned because of Tom Lockyer's collapse on the pitch midway through the second half. Elsewhere, Manchester City 2, Crystal Palace 2, Newcastle 3, Fulham 0 and Chelsea 2, Sheffield United 0. At the Etihad, Palace came from 2-0 down to get that 2-2 draw with Manchester City. Here's Pep Guardiola.
Well, we give away 2 points, so for our mistake, and what can I say? We do everything. A team like a defend in the box, so deep, difficult. We were patient. We didn't concede anything, and for 2-3 actions they arrived. We were punished, but again for our mistakes, we have to be more calm and composed in that position. So it's not the first time. Today is one player, today another one, but it's what it is. So move forward, learn, and next one.
You were quite animated at times today. Was that because you weren't quite seeing what you wanted to see from your players at times?
Absolutely. When the 10 players in 80-yard box is so difficult, the physicality of them, they're well organized, like all the team with Roy Hodgson. But the penalty cannot happen. So it is happened like a penalty in Chelsea, cannot happen. So it happened, so at the end, in that level, they punish you.
So that was Pep Guardiola with Gary Flintoff. Gary also spoke with Roy Hodgson.
Well, this wondrous game of football. Talk me through the master plan.
Well, the master plan was really decided by the fact that we had to try and get our best and most senior players on the field, because we've got so many missing, in particular in the forward areas. We had to come up to some extent with a plan where we got our senior players on the field, which meant finding a way of getting both Ward and Klein on the field. And we decided to do that by moving Ward in one and really playing basically with a 5 at the back. We continued with that until we decided we could risk Eze. We wouldn't have done it at 2-0, but at 2-1 we thought, well, we'll take the risk. Fortunately for us, it did pay off.
And I know you said just I think a week ago that the joy sometimes in football is not always there for you. Was today the perfect example of why football is full of joy?
I mean, I'm surprised people make so much of that. I'm afraid that in 46 years I could give you thousands of moments where it hasn't been too joyful, but I can probably give you quite a few as well where it's been very joyful. That's part and parcel of it. Last week was specific. It was specific in the way that game, and any joy that I thought I should have had from the game, and any merit the team should have had, and any pride in the team performance that I felt was stolen, if you like, in my opinion, by the way the game panned out.
It's good to see you smiling today, though.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gary. Thank you.
Roy Hodgson with Gary Flintoff. At St James's Park, Lewis Miley became Newcastle's youngest ever Premier League scorer at the age of 17. They beat Fulham 3-0, but Raul Jimenez was sent off midway through the first half for the visitors. Here's his manager Marco Silva with Ailey Barber.
Marco, a really disappointing afternoon. We'll start at the obvious place with the red card to Raul Jimenez. Your thoughts on it?
Yes, disappointing afternoon. Probably the quiet game that Newcastle needed after the midweek game, Champions League midweek game, and wasn't our fault the quiet game they had. All the moments the referee didn't give one foul for Fulham Football Club. One foul, all the challenge, everything for Newcastle every time was a free kick or was a foul or whatever. It's impossible. I understand, and not congratulations for Newcastle. They won the game. To this type of grounds, this type of games, this type of situations, where you put referees, they have the ability to handle the pressure. Or it's always difficult to handle because they go always with the home crowd. They go always with the pressure, and this is Premier League. Premier League we should decide. Of course, not for me to decide. Referees with experience, with the ability to handle the pressure. And today, this afternoon, is the best example for a referee that doesn't have the ability and the experience to handle the pressure from a game with 50,000 people around. That is clear for me. When during 20 minutes, any ball, any doubt fall for us, he didn't give one. Even elbow in the face of Raul. For me, the yellow card is a good decision from the referee, and come again the VAR. The VAR now they are trying to find always moments to get red cards to give. I don't know if they have to justify their job. I don't know what they're trying to do with people with knowledge about the game. You see that moment. It's clear he lost the moment to go in that ball. Clear Raul. should do it in a different way. I got all the performance from the referee from the first minute until the last. Yellow cards for our players was completely strange, really, the afternoon from the referee.
Marco Silva with Ali Barber. Chelsea beat Sheffield United 2-0 at Stamford Bridge. Let's get the thoughts of Chris Wilder with Martin Fisher.
Chris, defeat, but there'll be a lot of positives from that performance. Certainly in the first half, you must have been thrilled with the way the team approached it first period.
Yeah, it's hurt that because, you know, the approach first off, like you said, we thought we got it spot on. And the naivety and in a way, it's like mixed emotions for me because they've gone after the ball early on in the second half where we've kept us shape great in the first half, limited them to not much apart from obviously a little bit of magic off the two sides, which them two boys can produce. But we've had enough going the other way. Sterling gets to the byline, cuts one back, Palmer taps it in, Jayden Bogle gets to the byline, cuts one back, and there's three of our boys waiting on the edge of the 6-yard box. But it's just a naivety of the approach first 15 minutes where we wanted to get after it, and lessons learned for a relatively naive and young, inexperienced group.
So from Chris Wilder to Maurizio Pochettino with John Southall.
Maurizio, give us your emotions after that one.
Yes, I think very pleased. I think player and everyone deserve this victory. First half was difficult because they were aggressive and they low block made very difficult for us to find the space, and I think we made a mistake, and then we changed on the second half and start to be more aggressive. We start to find, you know, the half spaces on the using the pocket in a different way.
And how important is it for the players' confidence and belief? Because is that a bit fragile?
Yes, always is fragile. In a club like Chelsea, you must win every single game and you need to be on the top always. It's difficult when the result not arrive. But yes, I think that should be a very boost for us, and to be confident for Tuesday now, different competition, quarterfinal against Newcastle, to have the confidence to go through, to play well and try and win the game.
Big game in the Championship was at lunchtime. Ipswich 2, Norwich 2. Wes Burns getting the equaliser for the home side. It keeps Ipswich second in the table, behind Leicester on goal difference. Here's Kieran McKenna.
I can't fault us for much, really. I thought a balance of being aggressive and physical and, you know, all the things that you need to be in a derby match, we were pretty much bang on with. And yeah, I thought it's an occasion that, you know, we didn't, of course, ultimately a derby match. It would have been a brilliant one to win. But I think there's a lot of things as a football club we can stand here and be proud of, and, you know, one of them certainly the fact that we're facing a really good opponent who not so long ago were a long way from us, and now the, you know, supporters are celebrating the draw at the end of the game, which keeps us 21 points ahead of them. So I think there's things to be proud of as a football club.
It was a historic win for Tottenham in the Women's Super League. They beat Arsenal 1-0. Beth England making her 150th WSL appearance, and we can hear from the Spurs captain.
I'm aware this is our first win against Arsenal, so it's huge, and I'm very privileged to be the person to have led the team today. I think it's just a huge confidence boost. Obviously, we went off the back of conceding 11 goals from Man City and Man United. So then going into the Conti Cup, we gave them a good tough run the other day. I know we got the draw, lost on penalties, but it was still a very hard-fought draw in the Conti Cup. We went toe-to-toe with them today, and ultimately we came out on top. So again, I think it's just going into the new year is that we're not fearful of these teams. We are playing confident football, and we've shown that today.
We'll be back at Turf Moor shortly, where Everton lead Burnley 2-0, and then you can get your calls in to 606. Here's Chris.
Yep, good evening, Mark. Yeah, we want to hear from Manchester City fans. I think that's 1 win in 6 in the Premier League as of late. Are the wheels off at Manchester City? What's going on with Celtic north of the border? Who is to blame for their inept performances as of late? Want to hear from the East Anglian Derby fans. I thought Ipswich was superb today. Was Kieran McKenna a little bit naughty, though, suggesting that the Norwich City fans were celebrating a draw, Mark?
Thank you very much, Chris. West Indies are rattling along at 9 and over against England in the men's T20. Kevin Howells.
It could be a tough night again, couldn't it? England, of course, trying to save the series. There are another 2 games to go after this one. West Indies now 120 for 4, so at least another wicket has fallen. 13 overs gone. Nicholas Pooran is 42 not out, but a partnership of 58 in 5 overs, including Rovman Powell, has just come to an end. Sam Curran coming back well. He's under quite a lot of pressure with his bowling at the moment, is Sam Curran, but Powell has just gone for 39 line of 21 balls. The West Indies are 124 for 4 in the 14th over.
England's women hammered earlier by India in their one-off test match. They lost by 347 runs. In the Days Rugby Union in the Champions Cup, Saracens 55, Connacht 36, Stormers 21, La Rochelle 20, Bordeaux 36, Bristol 17. Half-time between Leinster and Sale lead 13-11. Just into the second half between Lyon and Bulls lead 21-12. In the Premiership, Women's Premiership earlier, Bristol 41, Trailfinders 17, Leicester 17, Saracens 60, Sale 12, Loughborough 24. And there's plenty more live sport to come on 5 Live. Premier League Sunday tomorrow, including Liverpool against Manchester United. Later on tonight, or tomorrow morning, from 4 a.m, you can catch commentary of Jesse Rodriguez against Sonny Edwards from Arizona in their WBO and IBF World Flyweight title unification fight. And now you can enjoy the second half of Burnley-Everton with Paul Robinson and Conor McNamara.
Thanks very much, Mark. Just about to get back underway. Burnley 0, Everton 2 at the break. The goals from Onana and from defender Michael Keane. Both teams have made changes over the break. There's a welcome return for Lyle Foster, the South African forward who's come on for Burnley. It's his first appearance in quite some time. He'd been getting specialist care for some mental health issues. The club said that he was in the hands of some specialists, and it wasn't known when we were going to see him back. It's been a welcome surprise to see him on the bench this evening and straight back into the action, coming on as a half-time change. He's replaced Jay Rodriguez in the Burnley attack. And the Everton change is the introduction of Lewis Dobbin, who got his first goal for Everton against Chelsea last weekend. And he's come on in place of Abdoulaye Doucouré, who's been Everton's top scorer so far this season. Paul Robinson, what do you make of those two changes?
I can only imagine that Doucouré's picked up a knock or is struggling at half-time, because he's been such an influential player under Sean Dyche. I mean, he's played 31 and scored 11 under Dyche. Before that, he'd scored 4 in 69. I mean, he's been such a big player. He plays off Calvert-Lewin or Beto, wherever it is in behind. But for him to change, the system won't change, the formation won't change. Lewis Dobbin will come in and play that same role.
You were showing some of the possession stats over half-time, and most games that these teams play, Burnley and Everton, they will allow their opponents have most of the ball. They can't both not have it. So it is Burnley who've had, 63%, but they don't know what to do with it.
They're not used to having that amount of possession. Everton are used to not having that amount of possession. Everton are effective in certain areas, and they play in areas when they've got the ball and they're going forward, and as they are doing now.
I'll give you a reminder of the teams in full in just a moment. Burnley have one possession inside the Everton half. This is Amdouni running across the pitch from right to left, tracked by Garner, and eventually it goes out to Delcroix on the left-hand side. So the Burnley team, Trafford the goalkeeper, Vitinho, O'Shea, Bayer and Delcroix at the back four. Larson, Berger, Brownhill and Odegaard in midfield, and then Foster with Amdouni up top. Here is Jakob Brun-Larsen on the right-hand side, gives it to Vitinho, back into Brun-Larsen, now to the edge of the area. Sanderberg takes a shot, but cleared away by Michael Keane, who was the deepest lying of the three Everton central defenders. That's a bit more positive from Burnley here at the start of the second half.
Better start from Burnley with Foster coming on. They look like Amdouni's dropped in behind him. They were getting overrun in midfield, and they're trying to do the opposite in this half.
Here's Larsen's cross from the right. It flashes in front of Foster, and Nathan Patterson takes no chances. He puts it out for a corner. There's been as much menace in these opening minutes of the second period from Burnley than we saw in all of the first half.
Yeah, the manager's clearly spoke to his team, and he gets himself in a really good position there. Brun-Larsen hits a cross on the half volley. It eludes everybody apart from Patterson on the far post. But much better intent from Burnley in this very, very early stage of the second half.
So Pickford standing on the goal line. Tall frame of Sanderberg has gone in to try and block his manoeuvrability. Here comes the delivery of the corner. Oh, it was a chance for Amdouni at the front post, but he couldn't swivel and shoot in one motion. And Everton quite relieved to clear that away. It didn't seem a particularly good delivery into the box from Larsen, but it nearly became dangerous as Everton didn't react, and thankfully for them, Burnley didn't react either.
And Amdouni just missed his kick at the near post. The ball came in at head height, bounced just before the near post. Almundi swung a left leg at it, didn't make contact, and ended bobbling across the 6-yard box. Onana completely missed it, and it was a really poor delivery, but it could have ended up being dangerous.
This is Larsen on the right hand side for Burnley, gives it in field to Sanderberg. Away from the attentions of Amadou Onana, and releases the pass to Vitinho on the right hand side, and he runs at McNeil, and he smuggled it through to Larsson again, but the cross is straight at Pickford. Again, promising build up from Burnley. They just need to find the final pass.
And again, it's Brun Larsen. He finds his way in behind this Everton defence, and he's caught in two minds because he's on an angle. He's looking like he's going to cross it, but Jordan Pickford anticipates the cross. He takes a step to his right and leaves his near post wide open. I think Brun Larsen, just at the last minute, changes his mind and ends up with neither a cross nor a shot.
Odegaard plays the ball forward, which Amdouni's been able to control, and now he gives it to Jakob Brun Larsen in the penalty area. Right hand side as Burnley come forward. Michael Keane's gone out to shadow him. He rolls it to the edge to Sander Berge. Now infield to Odegaard, who tries to hit it. He scored against Brighton last time out. Too many bodies on the way here. They'll come again with Delcroix on the left, and then it's played in by Foster and comfortably held onto by the goalkeeper. It's a completely different Burnley in this second half.
And that'll frustrate Vincent Kompany, because he'll be wondering why his team didn't start the game like this. They've gone 2 goals down, and it's taken him to get in the dressing room at half-time. His words are clearly ringing in the ears of his players, but he's only made one change at half-time. It's the same personnel, and it's almost like he's had to say to them, look, you've now got nothing to lose. Go out there, press, play high, and try and score goals. And the way that they've approached the start of this second half, it's completely night and day to what we've seen in the first half.
Funny how adversity seems to bring a positive reaction from so many teams. Everton to get the points deduction, suddenly go on their best run for 3 years. Burnley go 2-0 down, then they start playing. But that is one of the intangibles of football. How do you bottle that feeling? How do you get it from a neutral starting position? That's what the best teams do. This is Michael Keane on the edge of the penalty area for Everton. They're playing from right to left as we look down. Pick for the goalkeeper. Patterson, Tarkowski, Keane, Godfrey and McNeil. A back 5 for Sean Dyche. In reality, of course, it's 3 central defenders and the others pushing on. McNeil against his old team. Tarkowski the same. Michael Keane the same. In midfield is James Garner and Onana. And then Harrison and Lewis Dobbin in support of Dominic Calvert-Lewin up top. Everton have got themselves an attacking throw-in, which McNeil prepares to take on the left wing. Gives it into Harrison. Tries to skip past Vitinho and is fouled by the Brazilian. And that is a free kick to Everton in a crossing position on the left-hand side. We've played 6 minutes in the second half and 5 live, and it's still Burnley 0, Everton 2.
He's done well, Jack Harrison. He's come back into this Everton side. They've taken him on loan from Leeds. Saw him last year at first hand at Leeds, and he was an outstanding player with his goals, with his assists. It's taken him a while to get into the Sean Dyche team through injury, but he's come in now with his assists, with his attacking play, and he's been a really, really key component to everything that Everton have done well recently.
So Everton free kick, Garner and McNeil standing over it, and you have got 8 outfield players for Burnley inside their own 6-yard box defending this. That's how deep they're forced to lie. This free kick is only 5 yards from the byline on the left. Certainly not a shooting position, but McNeil and Garner will try to whip it in. It's going to be Garner, I'm sure. Here it is. Yes, Garner whips it in. Trafford fingertips it away. Any touch at all in front of the goalkeeper, and that would have been a 3rd goal for Everton.
Well, that was a shot from Garner. It clearly was. I mean, like you say, he's 5 or 6 yards off the dead ball line. He whips it across the face of goal, but he's aiming for that far post. It eludes everybody, and it's gone in James Trafford's top corner. He has to dive, and he makes a save rather than dealing with a cross.
It's got to be a corner, far side of the pitch from us for Everton. Dwight McNeil, who burst onto the scene at such a young age as a young Burnley player. Here he is in Everton blue, back at Turf Moor, swings it in again, header up into the air by O'Shea, hasn't fully cleared though. Vitinho tries to send it a bit further out. Garner knocks it over to McNeil again, who's left-footed delivery into the penalty areas, this time cleared away by Bear. Burnley need to get out here. Everton have it, still inside the Burnley half. Tarkowski does a little Cruyff turn. That's the sort of confidence that Everton are deploying here at Turf Moor, and why not? The run that they're on is looking for their 4th Premier League win in a row. Harrison allows the ball to bounce. Onana uses his tall frame to win the header, and Everton have it back under control again at the back with Tarkowski, who launches one over the top. Calvert-Lewin will sprint after it, but that runs through to James Trafford. If you're up in the early hours overnight, 5 Live will have commentary of Britain's Sonny Edwards flyweight unification fight against Jesse Rodriguez. It's live from Arizona, coverage from 4 a.m. on 5 Live, and there's plenty new podcasts available on BBC Sounds worth looking out for, including Troy Deeney and Jermaine Defoe discussing the subject of being dropped in football firsts. Patrick Bamford and Joe Wilkinson talk about career-defining moments in episode 5 of My Mate's a Footballer, and the Hull City legend Dean Windass looks back on his career in the podcast Sacked in the Morning. That's all available right now on BBC Sounds. For the moment, in this 5:30 kickoff in the Premier League, we're approaching the hour mark at Turf Moor, and Everton are very much in control, leading by 2-0. It's up to Vincent Kompany's team to try and change that. Delcroix has it inside the Everton half, turns, rolls it back into his own half again, and Everton have made life very difficult for Burnley so far today.
If there is to be another goal in this game, it's going to be vital. I mean, the game's playing into Everton's hands at the moment. They're comfortable in and out of possession, but Burnley have started this second half the better, and if they are to create a few chances, that's a nasty one from Calvert-Lewin.
O'Shea has been caught by Dominic Calvert-Lewin. They're both going for a header. O'Shea has been cleaned out there. He's flat on his back. Referee comes across. Calvert-Lewin is appealing his innocence. VAR will be looking, of course, in the background. Chris Kavanagh is the video assistant referee today. O'Shea's very much in a standing position, so he doesn't have much protection in terms of momentum. Calvert-Lewin has run across. You've seen a replay of it now, Paul Robinson. What do you reckon? He gets away with it, no card.
It looks worse with a naked eye to start with. I mean, we don't often say that, but we'll look at the replay there. O'Shea's gone up for the header. Calvert-Lewin's clearly not got his eyes on the ball, and he's just bumped O'Shea when he's off balance, and it looked bad, but it's a coming together. But Calvert-Lewin knew what he was doing.
So free kick, but no further action in a game that hasn't had any yellow cards. Doucouré, who's gone off, and Ashley Young, who isn't playing, are the only two who are in line for suspension should they pick up another yellow today. Harrison gives it to McNeil. Garner's pass isn't great. Tarkowski's going to have to stretch here on the edge of his own penalty area. Everton nearly give it away. Foster charges in. He's done well. Brun Larsen doesn't do well. Should have played a better cross, and I think that's good refereeing by Anthony Taylor. He allowed it play on for a moment. Then when the cross wasn't good from Brun Larsen, he brings it back for the free kick. The foul on Odegaard, and this is a free kick in a shooting position for Burnley.
Yeah, we don't often give referees praise, but Anthony Taylor in that instance, we don't often see them allowing play to go on longer than they would, 4 or 5 seconds. There he's actually allowed a passage of play. The cross from Burnley didn't go into the box, and he brought it back for the free kick. And there's nobody in the ground that's questioning that. I think it's very, very good refereeing by him. I mean, he's allowed play to go on longer than that we would normally see. I mean, when Burnley get in a crossing position and it doesn't work, not many times would we see the referee then bring it back for a free kick 10 seconds earlier. Good refereeing.
Great position for a free kick, this. The wall being erected a couple of paces inside the penalty area. It is bang slam in front of Jordan Pickford, but the goalkeeper can't cover both sides here. So he's erected his wall. Pickford is going to stand slightly right-hand side of the goalmouth as he looks out. What an opportunity this is for Burnley, who need something. They need a break. Jakob Brun Larsen, 3 goals for the club so far. Standing over this. It's going to be right-footed. It's over the wall. It takes a little clip on the way through, and that deflects it out for a corner. Corner to Burnley.
Well, it's a huge wall. It's very, very central. It's a perfect distance for shooting, but you look at that Everton wall. Calvert-Lewin, Tarkowski, Keane, Godfrey. He really had to get it up and down, and from such a close distance, it was always going to be a tough ask.
It's Tarkowski in the wall who headed it away. That sort of tractor beam of a head of his that seems to absolutely just suck. Anything that goes into the penalty area seems to be dragged towards him. Brun Larsen's going to take the corner from the right-hand side. Didn't get under it again. Don't think his deliveries have been great today, Brun Larsen. As Vitinho tries to play it back into the penalty area. Lyle Foster will battle on in his return to the team, but Everton get it back. Ben Godfrey on the right-hand side of the defence launches away long to clear the lines, and that will send Burnley retreating back into their own half again. Burnley fans felt that Lyle Foster had been fouled there. Referee Anthony Taylor felt it was a coming together of players, but no whistle needed. Burnley 0, Everton 2. Long ball by O'Shea, too far in front of Foster, and then Foster surely pushes Nathan Patterson there as Patterson was shielding it. Patterson looks at the referee and says, come on, how is that not a free kick? I mean, it makes no difference anyway. It's going to be a goal kick or a free kick from pretty much the exact same position. But I do think Foster pushed him there.
Absolutely he did, yeah, he pushed him. But the ball was running out of play anyway. Back to your point, picking up your point about the set plays and about the delivery. That's been the difference in the sides. Excuse me. I can't remember a really clear-cut opportunity in open play, but everything has come from set plays. Burnley, 4 corners. Everton, 5 corners. Burnley 6 free kicks, Everton 6 free kicks, but the quality of the delivery has been the difference. The organisation in the box, the organisation from the set plays, and it's all about the quality of delivery into those areas, and Everton have been so much better than them.
Yeah, both Everton goals tonight coming from set pieces, and it means that Everton have now overtaken Arsenal, and they've scored more goals from set pieces this season than any other team. Delivery in from the left from McNeil is well claimed by the Burnley keeper, James Trafford. It's 58 minutes on the stadium clock. Burnley 0, Everton 2. O'Shea has possession on the edge of his own penalty area. Gives it short to Sander Berge. Slight improvement from Burnley overall in the second half, but it's not enough yet to in any way dent the 2-goal advantage that Everton hold. Berge looks to stretch it out to the left-hand side. He's looking for Odegaard, easily intercepted by Nathan Patterson. Remember, Everton without Idrissa Gueye and Jared Branthwaite this evening, both of whom are suspended, and Ashley Young and Seamus Coleman and Mikalenko are all injured. Missing a lot of defenders, Sean Dyche, but still his team on track as things stand for a 4th Premier League clean sheet in a row, if they can keep Burnley out. This is Brownhill rolling it back to Dara O'Shea, the summer signing from West Bromwich Albion. Now Vitinho on the right-hand side. First Brazilian to ever play for Burnley, Vitinho. Sander Berge on the halfway line, the former Sheffield United man, trying to send it out to Odegaard again and again. It's very easy pickings for Nathan Patterson. He's not having to do any sort of spectacular defending here. So many of these attempted forward passes from Burnley are just giving possession back to Everton.
Yeah, Burnley having the lion's share of the possession, like we said about the possession stats, but everything's in front of Everton at the moment. They've got in behind a couple of times with Odegaard and Brun Larsen, a couple of decent crosses, but since then Everton have regained their position. They sit deep with the 5, and they're saying to Burnley, go on then, break us down, and they're not hurting them in any way.
Here's O'Shea, halfway line, tries to send it down the right wing, and he does pick out Jakob Brun Larsen. Now he rolls it into the penalty area, and Dooney goes down. He was trying to get around James Tarkowski. He falls to the deck. Tarkowski will claim he was just standing his ground, and it's muted appeals more than anything else, I would say. More from the crowd than the players themselves that Dooney was fouled and that might be a penalty.
Well, he's chasing the referee back. He just gets the wrong side of Tarkowski, and Tarkowski's a really big, strong centre-half. He can sense that Amdouni's there, and he just spreads his body out. He puts his arm across him. Amdouni runs into it. He instigates the contact. Be very harsh if that was given. I don't think that's a penalty.
I think the key is, and Tarkowski does this very well, you'll notice the more experienced defenders do it, that you'll get your arm in front of someone or you'll hold their shirt, but you then let go. Don't continue it. That's when the officials really blow the whistle and look into it further. You get away with a little movement, and Tarkowski just did enough to not fracture the law there. As Pickford sends the free kick into the penalty area, Burnley player has gone down on the edge of the box. And Sander Berge, play continues anyway. Michael Keane has got possession, but he won't hold on to it. It's one back for Burnley, cleared away by Jordan Bear. But again, it's just an aimless boot down the field, and it's straight to Ben Godfrey, and Everton get it back again. It's too high for Harrison. He might get another nibble here. Dwight McNeil surging into the penalty area, sends across, that flicks off Vitinho, and Everton have got themselves another corner. They've been dangerous from these. 2-0 to Everton.
Well, they're clever. They work hard in certain areas, Everton. The game was scrappy there. It was very disjointed. Neither team could get a decent run of possession. Dwight McNeil got the ball. He knew what he needed to do. He knew what he wanted to do for his team. He ran into an area, went to put a cross in. He knew if the cross didn't go into the box, he would get another corner for his team.
So let's see what James Garner can do with this. Garner, who was featured in all but one of Everton's Premier League games this season, he's been one of Sean Dyche's better performers. Short run up, right-footed delivery towards that back post area again. Trafford can only parry it off Vitinho. I think it came off the post there. It came down from Michael Keane again, and Everton nearly got their 3rd goal. Trafford, who is doing his best here, but he's finding these corners very difficult to deal with. Another ball into the penalty area. Tarkowski wins the header down. Burnley hammer it away.
What a goal-mile scramble that was, wasn't it? I mean, they're making no apologies for what they do. They've clearly identified a weakness with James Trafford. They think he's uncomfortable on crosses. Every single corner that they get, they're hanging it under the 6-yard box, and they're attacking the ball. And once again, he was really, really uncomfortable, the Burnley goalkeeper.
Quality of the delivery, this is clearly what they're trying to do. They're executing it so well, Everton. That swinging it in just where the keeper doesn't want it.
It's
Julian,
horrible.
it remains.
Oh, it's a horrible place to be. You know, if you're a goalkeeper that doesn't come off the line, or you're suffering a lack of confidence or whatever. James Trafford isn't at the moment. He's playing particularly well, but in this game he's had an aerial threat through the whole game from Everton. It's something that they've targeted, they've filled the 6-yard box, and they really have whipped balls in under that crossbar.
He did very well in the last game against Brighton, James Trafford. He made more saves in that game than any goalkeeper has done in any Premier League match this season, and Burnley were able to get the draw, which isn't the easiest thing against a Roberto De Zerbi side. Here comes Amdouni. Oh, he's hit that well. Good save, Pickford. Jordan Pickford's best save of the evening. Spectacular dive to his right-hand side, but the laces were put through it by Ziki Amdouni. It was a long way out, but he caught it well, and that's pushed out for a corner.
Oh, Connor, that's a brilliant save from Jordan Pickford. Where we are, we're sat right behind it. Amdouni's hit it on the angle. He's about 20 yards from goal. It's dipped, it's swerved, and Jordan Pickford's dived across with his wrong hand, that we say, with his top hand. He's made a fantastic save.
Yeah, needed the little mid-air adjustment, but he pulled it off well. Ball is scooped in by Delcroix from the corner, but again, there's no teeth, there's no bite to this Burnley attack when they need it. And another attacking passage of play for Vincent Kompany's team goes astray. But certainly there have been more questions asked of Burnley by Burnley in this second half, but Pickford there with his best save of the game so far. I'm just seeing replay after replay of that tangle when Trafford tried to deal with it hit the post twice, so the corner came in, it was kind of volleyball palmed away by the goalkeeper, it came off Michael Keane once, post, Keane again, post, and then Burnley got it away. Wicket at the cricket. Let's go to Kevin Howells.
You think the damage is done here, but the wicket has fallen. It's the 5th one, so the West Indies now 183 for 5 in the 18th over. Nicholas Pooran out for 82 of 45 balls, caught in the deep off the bowling of Adil Rashid, giving their 2nd wicket. West Indies 183 for 5, 18th over.
Thanks, Kevin. 25 minutes to play at Turf Moor, plus the stoppages. This is 5 Live for the BBC. In the Premier League, it's Burnley 0, Everton 2. Jakob Brun-Larsen to a crossing position on the right, sends it in. Everton with those 3 central defenders repel it again. O'Shea feels that he was fouled there. Referee outstretches an arm to indicate, yes, it was a foul, but you've got possession, so play on. Vitinho. Back infield to O'Shea again. Everton patiently wait to see what Burnley are going to do here. O'Shea gives it back to Vitinho on the right-hand side. Harrison the nearest opponent to him. Vitinho doesn't fancy taking him on. Back into Dara O'Shea once again. Now Sander Berge in the midfield. Out to Jordan Bear. And now on the left-hand side, Hannah Delcroix. Come in field with the help of Odegaard. Sander Berge loops one in. Surely Brun-Larsen would have been offside anyway. They'd gone to him, but the pass was too high. Same old story for Burnley. That quality of the delivery not good enough.
Quality in the final third, but it's that man Brun-Larsen again. He's the one that looks to get in behind the left wing back Dwight McNeil. The space opens up there and he gets himself in a really dangerous position, but again it's just that final pass, it's that final delivery, it's the lack of quality in the final third that have let Burnley down so far.
6:06 coming up at the end of this game. You can get in touch with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton and have your say on the weekend's events on 5 Live, a weekend in which Chelsea and Newcastle have already had wins in the Premier League. Tottenham won last night. Manchester City, who were 2-0 up at home to Crystal Palace, ended up being held to a draw. In Scotland, there were wins for Hearts, who beat Celtic. 2 defeats in a row now for Celtic. Hearts up to 3rd. Wins for Dundee and for St Johnstone as well. And in the Championship, wins for Bristol City, for Hull, Watford, Sheffield Wednesday, Southampton and Middlesbrough. One of the big stories of the day, the Bournemouth-Luton game abandoned in the second half because of concern for Tom Locklear, who had collapsed. Club have confirmed he did suffer a cardiac arrest, but he's been resuscitated, he's been brought to hospital, and he is responsive. Midway through the second half here at Turf Moor, Everton have possession. Everton have a 2-goal lead. Goals from Onana and from Michael Keane both came in the first half. Match of the day this evening. You can watch all the goals 10:25 with Gary Lineker on BBC One. Dobbin, that's a good ball in front of Garner into the penalty area, plays it across, backheeled away by Dara O'Shea, and Brownhill's on hand to complete the clearance. Flag belatedly rises. Garner was offside. It was Patterson, in fact, offside.
Still don't like that. The assistant referees waiting when we can all see in the stadium that he's miles offside, and we still have to wait.
But do you remember the Haaland pass for Jack Grealish?
Yeah,
right, that's why they do it. you know, because if the official has got it wrong, well, at least let them run through and see what happens, you know. But I know,
but I don't like it.
I'm not going to change your mind.
Especially the obvious ones when everyone in the stadium can see he's offside. But for that reason, I can understand that.
It's always the obvious ones that get you, you know. I think everyone could see Grealish on that day. That's the trouble. And I guess what I would say in defence of the officials, what they think, if even 2 or 3 times a season they get a goal to count, it's worth the multiple misfirings and false triggers that we see. But yes, it does annoy a lot of people. Vincent Kompany's about to make a change here. He is preparing. It's going to be Delcroix who'll go off, who's been playing at left back.
Here's number 28.
Al Dakhil will come on in his place. Dakhil, the Belgian international, replaces Delcroix, the Belgian international. Very much evident of the Vincent Kompany influence at Turf Moor these days. So Al Dakhil, who started the League Cup game when these sides met last month, he hasn't played since due to injury, gets to come on the left-hand side of the Burnley defence.
The 2 fullbacks have just changed. They've just swapped. Vitinho's gone over to the left and Al Dakhil's come over to this right-hand side, to his more favourable side.
Everton, who've already had twice as many away wins this season as each of the last 2 seasons. And they're on their way to another win here, barring a dramatic final 20 minutes from Burnley. This is Dobbin, the half-time substitute for Everton. Just tricking and weaving, trying to hold on to possession. He's under a lot of pressure from Odegaard, and he does well to hold on to it and roll it back behind to Godfrey. That was one of those instances where both sets of supporters clapped. The Everton supporters clapped because their team held onto the ball, and the Burnley fans clapped because of the pressure that forced Everton to retreat. This is Garner giving it to Patterson on the right-hand side. He goes long and searching. Bayer jumps ahead of Calvert-Lewin. Garner's going to try and get there, but beaten to it by Odegaard, who'll play it down the left wing for Burnley, but he can't pick out a teammate, and it trickles out of play for a throw-in to the visitors. So Sean Dyche has got 20 minutes to go here before he can celebrate what he hopes is going to be a winning return to his old stomping ground of Turf Moor. League Cup action for Everton on Tuesday. It's at home at Goodison. We've got Tottenham away in the Premier League next weekend. That'll be a good game now, the way Everton have been playing away from home, and Tottenham getting their groove back. And the big games keep coming for Sean Dyche, because it's Manchester City at Goodison on December 27th. By the way, with City drawing today, they now head off to the Club World Cup. Potentially, if Liverpool were to win all their games between now and coming back, City could be 12 points off the top of the table by the time the champions resume their domestic duties, which is quite a gap should that transpire. And no doubt that Pep Guardiola's team have gone off the boil in recent weeks, not helped of course by the absence of their prolific number 9. This is Jordan Pickford for Everton. Is he given too much of that? He has. Too high above Patterson, it goes out for a goal kick to Burnley. Everton fans making all the noise to be expected in these circumstances, and for Burnley fans it's been a tough full season, especially here at Turf Moor.
Well, it has. I mean, the Everton fans have been galvanised, haven't they, with performances, with results, and what's gone on off the field. There seems to be a real togetherness between players and supporters, and recent results have done that. I mean, wins at home against Newcastle and Chelsea, but wins on the road, you know, workmanlike performance against Forest. It wasn't pretty at time, but they've got the job done, and seemingly thus far tonight they're doing exactly the same.
Tomorrow we've got 4 Premier League commentaries for you to listen to from BBC Radio Sport. Arsenal against Brighton is a 2 o'clock kickoff. You can listen to that on 5 Live. Brentford Aston Villa starts at 2 as well. Full commentary on Sports Extra. And at 2 o'clock also West Ham take on Wolves, and that one's available to listen to online via the BBC Sport website and app. And then at 4:30 it's the big one at Anfield. Manchester United returning to the scene of the 7-0 crime back in, what was it, March? Liverpool against Manchester United tomorrow. No Bruno Fernandes for Manchester United. Full commentary of that game at 4:30 here on 5 Live. So Jakob Brun Larsen's preparing to take a corner for Burnley. This is away to our right hand side in front of the travelling Everton fans. Swings it in, and again no teammate near it. Michael Keane clears away.
I don't think it's the teammates that are at fault, Connor. I think it's the delivery yet again. The delivery from Burnley on set plays, especially corners, has been really poor. What was that stat you gave me in the first half? 1 goal from 91 corners.
Well, but before today it was 90, so I'd said that after their first corner.
Then you can see
they must
why.
have had another 4 or 5 here, so they are not threatening from the corner kicks. Jakob Brun-Larsen, who's clearly talented, but over the dead ball he's not been able to provide an accurate delivery at all today. And the clock ticks on, and we've just over a quarter of an hour of normal time to go. Trafford outside his penalty area gives it short to Jordan Beyer. The funny thing is that Burnley tend to do well in games against Everton. If you look back over the time of the Premier League, Burnley have won more league games against Everton than any other opponent. But they are trailing 2-0 here, and there just hasn't been enough to convince you that Vincent Kompany's team have got the comeback in them. The third goal for Everton, it'll absolutely be all over. Throw in for Nathan Patterson, takes his time over it. 10-12 yards from the byline, attacking position down the right for Everton, gives it short to Calvert-Lewin. Little 1-2 between those two again. Now the cross from Onana into the penalty area, just behind Jack Harrison, who wasn't able to control it. Dwight McNeil will keep it alive, twisting up against Jakob Brun-Larsen. Brun-Larsen's done well there, gets the better of the former Burnley man and brings the ball away. Then he tries to do a nutmeg on Harrison, last touch off the former Leeds man, and that's a throw into Burnley right full-back position for them. So 4 points from the last 3 games for Vincent Kompany's team, but are they about to hit a speed bump with another home defeat here? Victory against Sheffield United, the draw against Wolves, but 2-0 down now. McNeil, good tracking back, wouldn't allow Jakob Brun-Larsen away. Burnley fans thought that McNeil had fouled Larsen there. Referee was happy he didn't. Ball is cleared away by Everton. O'Shea will send it back into the opponent's half. Header up into the air by McNeil, and this time he has fouled Brun-Larsen. Free kick to Burnley.
Yeah, it's all getting a little bit disjointed down there, but it won't bother Everton. They'll be quite happy to see this game out. At the moment, Burnley are not really laying a glove on them. Yes, they're having the possession, but it's all possession in front of this Everton back five. They're holding midfield. And Everton, when they do get possession, they get forward and they get comfortable possession quite comfortably. It's the same story for Burnley. They're okay. They play well in possession, but the final third they lack. And again today, so far they've not been good enough.
Here come Burnley again. Jordan Beyer. Left hand side is Vitinho. Sends in another cross straight to Pickford. So I make it that is now 16 crosses in this game that Burnley have sent in, and they really haven't threatened with any of them.
It's the final third again, isn't it? Without risk of harping on about the same thing. They're decent in possession. They've got good footballers. They don't create that many chances, and in the final third they lack quality and don't make the right decision too often.
Everton come forward. Calvert-Lewin can't get it on the edge of the Burnley penalty area. O'Shea rolls it to Al-Dakhil, and he'll give it back to Darren O'Shea once again, but Burnley need it down the other end. Trafford. Nice pass out to Al-Dakhil. Al-Dakhil, who started the opening 10 Premier League games this season, then he got injured. This is the first supporters have seen him in a month. Vitinho down the left wing. Odegaard tries a little trick on Patterson. The Scottish international did well to stay goal side. Ball is played in by Vitinho. Same old story for Burnley. Straight to the arms of Jordan Pickford.
Really poor cross again. Great opportunity, great position to put the cross into the box, and it's just a lame, lazy cross that's just lifted into the arms of Jordan Pickford, and the England goalkeeper settles his team down, settles his back five down, pushes them forward, puts the ball on the floor, and he's looking long again.
Here is Onana. It was Amadou Onana's goal who set Everton on their way this evening. Header from a corner, rose high up above James Trafford to score. Michael Keane, former Burnley player, making his first appearance since October. Michael Keane was on hand to side foot in the second. And that one came after a free kick. Set piece defending, which has been something that Burnley have been quite good at in terms of their stats this season. It has let them down today. Jordan Beyer has it just inside his own half, rolls it to Darren O'Shea. Body language is muted though from Burnley. And, as much as you want to praise Vincent Kompany for sticking for principles and believing it's going to come right, you just wonder, do they need some sort of shift of emphasis? This is Jordan Beyer again to Vitinho. Everton happy for Burnley to have it here in the central third. Ball popped over the top. Foster sprints after it. Keane is with him. Michael Keane gets there first. Good control as well. Close to the corner flag. He's been able to clear it away without putting the ball out of play. But Burnley do get it back again. O'Shea inside the centre circle. 5 live from the BBC. Just over 11 minutes of normal time to play. Alderkiel to the feet of Jakob Brun-Larsen. Back to Alderkiel again. Infield to Darragh O'Shea. They just can't find the penetrating ball. Burnley. Alderkiel. Back to O'Shea. No big press from Everton. They're happy for Burnley to have it here because they know this is what happens, that they run about his ears, they play a long pass, and Burnley are able to make the interception. That has happened so many times. Burnley get it back on the halfway line. O'Shea scoops one forward. Little flick on. That's a bit better now by Amdouni. Larson in the penalty area. Pulls it back to the edge. Sander Berge off the crossbar. Pickford was beaten. Great shot from the Norwegian. The closest Burnley have come to a goal today. But Sander Berge is denied by the crossbar. And doesn't that just sum up Vincent Kompany's look?
Well, they are predictable in possession at times, Burnley, but it's that man Brun-Larsen again, gets in behind, gets to the dead ball line, cuts the ball back to Sander Berge, who with a side foot smashes it against the joint of the post and bar. Pickford's beaten. Best chance that Burnley have had.
He's yet to score in the Premier League for Burnley. Sander Berge, that was agonisingly close. It would have set up a more exciting finish. 2-0 for now it remains in Everton's favour. There's another wicket of the cricket. Here's Kevin Howells.
Well, actually, it's the 20 overs up here now. This is a massive target, this, Connor. Put into bat the West Indies 222 for 6. Chasing this target, saving this series with still 2 matches to go is going to need something very special, albeit a good batting surface. Nicholas Pooran's 82 off 45. England used 7 bowlers. Rashid took a couple of wickets. Well, the rest, well, we won't talk about them. I think it's time to call upon Knaresborough Cricket Club's Paul Robinson to go and save the day.
We've got a cricket pitch right beside us here at Turf Moor, actually. Just behind the goal that Jordan Pickford is defending. And Pickford once again with the ball back in his hands as another Burnley attack petered out. Into the final 10 minutes now. Burnley 0, Everton 2. And this revolution that Sean Dyche has been able to inspire in his players looks set to continue. Tarkowski plays a little 1-2 with McNeil, 2 of the former Burnley teammates, and then a roll back to Jordan Pickford. And Pickford, who's had a couple of scares, had to make one very good save diving to his right in the second half, had the shot from Sander Berge that came off the crossbar, but his potential clean sheet is still intact here. Free kick to Burnley. Tarkowski's asking the referee why. To see a replay of it here.
Amdouni, he's not aware that Tarkowski's there. I think the centre-half Tarkowski's made a really good tackle on Amdouni. He's taken the ball and he's still moaning at the referee. It's a really good centre-half tackle by Tarkowski and he's unlucky there. But the referee's given Burnley a free kick in a dangerous position.
Everton are making a change. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's had a relatively quiet afternoon, will make way. And it will be Beto who comes on, the Portuguese striker who got his first Premier League goal 9 days ago. It was against Newcastle.
Is number 10, Manuel Benson.
And he comes on, and there's a welcome return and a cheer from the Burnley fans because Manuel Benson has come on. This is his first appearance since September.
I can understand Vincent Kompany freshening it up, but he's taken his most dangerous player in Brun-Larsen off the field. He's been at the heart of everything that Burnley have done well. He's got in behind the defence, he's put crosses in, he just pulled that back there for Sander Berge, and Vincent Kompany's taken his most attacking, creative player off.
He's got in good positions. Has he delivered enough? I know he did tee up Sander Berge. Otherwise, though, has the quality of the crossing been good enough from Jakob Brun-Larsen? Anyway, he's been replaced. Benson's on. Free kick for Burnley into the penalty area. Foster got to it. Couldn't direct the header on target. He was about 8 yards out. And he's put that just wide. Lyle Foster, and he's returned to the Burnley team, having received some issues for mental health issues, received some treatment for it. And he is very welcome return to the Burnley setup. And he nearly got an attempt on target there. Everton almost going off the boil because they've been so comfortable. This is Garner inside his own half, sends it forward, right footed, comes off a Burnley player, and that's going to be an Everton throw-in on the far side of the pitch from us. He's had a good game today, James Garner.
Absolutely, in that midfield, him and Onana, they've been very, very strong in there. Jack Harrison dropping in to solidify it at times. We're entering the 84th minute now, coming up in the game, and Everton need to manage their way through this. Burnley have had a couple of opportunities, no least that one from Sander Berge where he rattled the crossbar, but that's the only real threat that Burnley have had, and it's up to them. I don't know about you, but it feels like there's just a little bit of a lull in the game at the moment.
Yeah. No, it does. It feels like it's job done for Everton here. We've seen many times in the Premier League, especially this season, how there could be a flurry of late goals. Asked Manchester City about it today, who were 2-0 up in the latter stages before ending up drawing with Manchester City. Sean Dyche will be concerned that there's become a little bit of a lull in his team, but so far Burnley haven't been able to capitalise on it if it does indeed exist. This is McNeil on the left-hand side, trying to take on El Dakhil. And El Dakhil sticks doggedly to the task, makes the deflection, the ball goes out for a throw-in, attacking throw-in for Everton down the left-hand side. Further changes being prepared. Vincent Kompany's got the iPad out and he's in conversations with Nathan Redmond over there, the former Southampton player. Looks like that's going to be the next substitute to come on for Burnley. Time very much running out. There's 6 minutes of normal time to go, maybe another 5 or 6 added on. McNeil comes in the attack down the left. He'll do well to keep this in play, and he hasn't. Ball has gone out of play before Dwight McNeil brought it back in again. And that means a throw-in to Burnley, right full-back position for them. Paul Robinson.
They're very good at doing that, Everton. They manage their way through games. And okay, they're not having good spells of possession, but when Burnley do get possession, they get the ball out, Everton win it back, and they turn them around. It's almost like, they're trying to get out, but they've turned us round again. They've turned us round again. And they win a throw-in in deep areas, and if they don't win a throw-in, it's a Burnley throw-in by their own corner flag. Very, very good game management by Everton.
This is Michael Keane, scorer of Everton's second goal today. Rolls it back to Nathan Patterson, back into Keane again. Tackled by Brownhill. Burnley get it back. It was just a little bit too relaxed from Keane on that occasion. Odegaard has it on the left-hand side for Burnley. Vitinho comes forward. A little bit of Brazilian trickery, dragging the ball under his studs. He got away from Beto. Benson now on the right-hand side. Little fizz of energy. Burnley's number 10 on the ball. They've seen so little of him this season. Gives it to Sander Berge. Back out to Manuel Benson. McNeil is the nearest defender to him. Benson with the yellow boots. Cuts back in field. Sends in a cross towards the back post, where arriving was Odegaard. And he just couldn't pick out a teammate when he hooked it in. That's better from Benson, though. Bit of a question mark at the end of that cross. But Everton survive.
A decent delivery by Benson, but he's so one-footed. He's got no right foot. He's playing on this right-hand side. Dwight McNeil's just stood on his right foot. He's just offering him to go inside, and all he can do is deliver into the box. He does actually deliver a really good cross into a dangerous area, but again, nothing comes of it for Burnley.
Burnley 0, Everton 2. Liverpool against Manchester United to come tomorrow on 5 Live. Dwight McNeil tackles Benson early at source there, and the ball goes out of play for a Burnley throw. And that's hold up will allow an opportunity for Vincent Kompany to make what's going to be a double change now. So Vitinho is going off. He's taking off a defender, and he's bringing on Nathan Redmond. And then also coming on will be Mike Tressor, who's replacing Wilson Odegaard. So Tressor number 31 comes on, Redmond too, and Vincent Kompany is going to go for it now. He's sacrificing a defender in the hope of a late twist in the tail here. 2-0 down. Darragh O'Shea has it just inside the Everton half. Rolls it across to Jordan Bear. He skips away from Beto. Gives it back to Sander Berge. Now to the right-hand side to Benson. And Burnley clearly have been given the instruction to give the ball to Benson as much as possible. Here he comes. Tries to take on McNeil on the outside, but can't deliver the right-footed cross. It's blocked by McNeil for a Burnley corner. Well, they might as well all go up for this. Corner on the right-hand side. The clock ticks on into the final 3 minutes now, and again it's rolled short. Brownhill back to Redmond, who's just come on. Back out to Benson, who had taken the corner. Running towards McNeil. Level with the edge of the penalty area. Redmond can't get underneath it, and it's a low delivery which doesn't get past the first defender. And from an attacking position down one end of the field, Burnley end up back with their goalkeeper at the other, and the Trafford's made a mistake here, and Beto nearly charged him down, and James Trafford just about got away with that.
Well, he's got so lucky there, James Trafford. He's so far out of his box, and he takes a bad touch. Beto, if he doesn't jump, he goes to jump to put the goalkeeper off. As Beto jumps, the goalkeeper falls. He slips with both feet. If Beto hadn't jumped, he could have just ran the ball into an empty net. Gets very lucky there, James Trafford.
Burnley 0, Everton 2 it remains. 2 minutes of normal time to play. Al Tequil gives it back to Darragh O'Shea. Again, they try this expansive ball that never seems to work for them. Patterson intercepts again with a header. Getting there ahead of Mike Tresor. He's now operating on the left wing, and the ball goes out of play. And that will be a throw into Burnley. They remain on the attack down the left-hand side.
I know it won't seem like it from an Everton point of view, but it does seem like it's been easy. I know Jordan Pickford's made a really good save in the second half, but they've worked very hard for what they've got, Everton. They're putting the performance, the players to a man. They've won second balls, they've worked very hard, and they've made it look easy. Burnley haven't really laid a glove on them in the second half.
Everton on their way to a 4th Premier League win in a row. Burnley, who had that long run of defeats from early October through to late November. They lost in successive games to Chelsea, Brentford, Bournemouth, Everton in the League Cup, Palace, Arsenal and West Ham. There was the respite of the 5-0 win in the last home game here against Sheffield United. But then defeat at Wolves the weekend, draw against Burnley, and this is set to be another defeat. So it is looking very much relegation zone for Christmas for Vincent Kompany.
Turf Moor's not what it used to be under Sean Dyche. Without, Everton have come here and done a job on Burnley. It's almost been like Burnley playing Burnley, but Burnley playing against the modern Burnley. And the way that Sean Dyche has got his team organised, the way that they battle for second balls, the way that they work for each other, and it's almost like that's what Burnley used to do here, and that's what kept them in the Premier League. And home form is key, and they've been nowhere near it at Turf Moor, and especially on the road this season. It's going to be a long season for them.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, the goals scored by Everton tonight, I mean, absolute stereotypical Sean Dyche team goals. How many goals like that did Burnley score when he was the manager here? This is Garner into the penalty area in front of Beto. Did well to get a shot in, but Trafford spread his body well, had the angles right, and the goalkeeper makes the save. Everton close to a third.
Does really well, James Trafford. Beto gets in one-on-one with him, and it's on the angle. He just whips it back with his left foot. Trafford closes the angle down, spreads himself, saves it with his left hand, making himself a star. James Trafford has been no issue whatsoever with his goalkeeping, with his shot stopping. It's when the ball's in the air, crosses. That's something that Everton have identified tonight. They've put set plays in the box, they've put it under the crossbar, and Burnley have struggled with that.
This run of games coming up is going to be very interesting now for Sean Dyche. The game in midweek in the League Cup against Fulham, then Tottenham, City, Wolves, Palace in the FA Cup in early January. But if they can keep up the form that has seen them beat Newcastle, beat Chelsea, this could be a very interesting next month or so for Everton.
Great opportunity in the Cup as well, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, you look at the team selection that he's had.
Quarter-final stage now.
There's far too many managers that take the Cup competition too lightly, that when have a realistic opportunity of winning not a lot else. Yeah. And Everton are the perfect example now, so far advanced in the Cup competition, a real chance to progress.
3 minutes been added on for stoppages. We've had one of those already. Beto goes into the penalty area, challenged by O'Shea. Beto went down, but he didn't make a song and dance about it, and O'Shea was able to clear away. This is Brownhill, just on the edge of his own penalty area. For joining our coverage late, the goals from Amadou Onana and Michael Keane, both in the first half, and it has been even more comfortable than it sounds in Everton's favour. They've allowed Burnley have the ball. Most of the possession has been with Burnley, but Everton have really executed the game plan to perfection for Sean Dyche here. This is Mike Tresor, the Burnley substitute, on the left wing, gives it to Brownhill. Back out to Tresor, level with the edge of the penalty area, the Burnley attack. He's done well to come in field of Patterson, and he hits the shot that was always rising high, and it sails over the crossbar for Mike Tresor, who continues his wait for his first Burnley goal.
Yeah, the same story again for Burnley in the final third. Lack of quality, lack of correct decision. I mean, that ball sails high and wide into the Everton fans, who are having an absolute ball in that stand away to our right hand side. 4 wins on the trot and looking like 4 clean sheets on the trot. What Sean Dyche has done there with the situation that his club are in, it's been nothing short of extremely impressive.
Well, don't forget, you can get in touch with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton, who are ready to get started on 606 coming up in just a few minutes here on 5 Live. 08085 909 693. Your chance to get on the air this evening and get your point across to Robbie and Chris. You can text 85058 or get in touch on social media as well.
He was making a lot of sense the other week, Chris. I was listening to him on the way home, saying that Tottenham were the most enjoyable team to watch in the Premier League. I mean, he was talking so much sense. There was a few that didn't agree with him, though.
There's the final whistle. It has been a very happy return to Turf Moor for Sean Dyche. There are boos in the background. Vincent Kompany's team slumped to another home defeat. But this victory for Dyche against his old club, 8 wins out of 12 now for Everton. It's simply a remarkable run they're on.
Incredible. You look at the fixtures they've had, the togetherness of this side. It's not necessarily, they're not just sneaking results, they're keeping clean sheets. They're beating Newcastle, they're beating Chelsea, they're scoring goals. It's not pretty at times. They play a certain way. They're very, very effective at what they do. They're a hard-working team. They battle so hard for second ball. And Sean Dyche making that all-so familiar walk across this Turf Moor pitch back to the dressing room in the corner, clapping those Everton fans, and the very few Burnley fans that are still there stood up, giving him a huge round of applause.
Goals from Onana and from Michael Keane, both in the first half, did the damage. Burnley, who've now had as many home defeats this season in the Premier League as they did in the entire campaign the last time they went down. These are troubling times for a Burnley support base who've seen this sort of relegation battle before, and they know how tough it can be.
They've seen this type of relegation battle before, but they've seen a different team in this relegation battle before. They've seen a Sean Dyche Burnley, a team that believe in themselves, a team that work hard, a team that play a different style of football. When you've got a team that are inferior to your opponents, you have to find a way to affect your opponents. You have to find a way to make it hard for your opponents. And Burnley are too easy. They're too easy to beat. They don't offer enough going forward, and you worry for them. 18 points after 17 games. You made the point within the production. 9 points at this stage of the season was the lowest that anybody's survived with, and yet another game ticks away for Burnley.
But today the story really is Everton and their supporters, who are delivering enormous acclaim to the players who go over to celebrate in front of them. I mean, what a difference a year makes. This time last year, Everton fans were staging enormous protests every game at Goodison Park. They seemed at one point to be destined for relegation to the Championship. Look at them now, riding high, and even a 10-point deduction at this stage of the season can't keep Everton down. They are rising wonderfully.
Well, they've been through so much off the field, haven't they, the Everton fans, the Everton supporters, but what they've always had is a togetherness, and regardless of what's happened, they've always been behind that team, through thin and even thinner, to be honest, in recent times. But what Sean Dyche has done, the way that he's galvanised them, and to a man, the whole squad has stood out there in front of that travelling Everton support, and they deserve a bit of success, and they're getting it at the moment. That 10-point deduction wiped away, potentially getting some more of those points back. You give them those 10 points back now, they're above Brighton. They're almost challenging for European places in this league.
It's incredible, isn't it? And Everton, who've got these tough games to come against Tottenham and Manchester City, those are the next 2 league games. But such is the bank of points they've built up now over the past 2 months. They can even afford to drop points in those games and still be in very, very good nick. The live football will continue tomorrow on 5 Live. There are 3 games at 2 o'clock, and you can listen to them all across BBC Radio Sport. Arsenal play Brighton. That's the 2 o'clock kickoff. Commentary on 5 Live. On Sports Extra at 2, we will bring you Brentford against Aston Villa. And then online on the BBC Sport website and app, you can listen to West Ham against Wolves. That is also a 2 o'clock game. At 4:30, our attention will turn to Anfield and what is always a highly anticipated game. Liverpool taking on Manchester United. And Liverpool, who have been looking back to their best in recent weeks, riding high at the top of the table, and a chance to extend that lead even further. But wouldn't it just be football for Manchester United to go and put in one of their better performances and to upset Liverpool tomorrow? Certainly it's a game that we're all very much looking forward to, Paul, and Manchester United going through a tough patch.
Well, it'll be a fantastic listen on 5 tomorrow. I mean, everything stacks up for a Liverpool win, doesn't it? You look at the stats, you look at where the 2 teams are at both on the field and off the field in 2 very, very different places. Arguably still the biggest game in English football, the history between the 2 clubs. It's one that I'll certainly be looking forward to listening to tomorrow.
Absolutely so. We'll be all over that tomorrow on 5 Live. 5 Live Sport getting underway at lunchtime tomorrow. But that is it from us here for now from Turf Moor, where the Everton fans will sing loud into the night as they make their way back towards Merseyside. The goals from Onana and Michael Keane have made it another happy day out for Everton, and a particularly significant one for Sean Dyche. His team have won back at his old stomping ground. Here it is finished. Burnley 0, Everton 2. It is time for 606 with Chris Sutton and Robbie Savage.